Quinn walks it out to the slot. Shot scores! Mattias Samuelson! Are you kidding me?
1-0. The Sabres rally late to shut down the Bruins in the first game of the playoff series in a third period comeback, 4-3. It's their first playoff win in 14 seasons after Buffalo was absent for most of the game. Tage Thompson scored the 2 goals to get the rally started. Here is Tage postgame.
We've been in situations like this most of the season, and you gain confidence from that, and I think it was no different tonight, even though it's, a lot of our first playoff games. The energy's a lot better and the intensity is higher, but in between periods I thought we did a good job just staying pretty even keel. To be honest, I thought we outplayed them for the first 2 periods, controlled most of the play, and like Sammy said, knew if we get one, we'd probably get a couple more, and obviously Upi does a great job keeping us in there until we can find our first one and just started to roll from there.
They gear up now for Game 2, coming up on Tuesday at KeyBank Center. Puck drop set for 7 o'clock. You'll be able to hear it right here on WGR. Other results from the weekend. Montreal beat Tampa in 4-3 in overtime. The Flyers beat the Penguins 3-2, and the Hurricanes shut out the Senators 2-0. Looking around the NFL, the draft only a few days away. New Orleans football's Nick Underhill believes Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson will probably be drafted in the top 10 picks of the draft. Georgia tight end Oscar Delp met virtually with the Texans and had a top 30 visit with the Browns. And Georgia wide receiver Zachariah Branch was arrested for misdemeanor obstruction in Athens, Georgia on Saturday. That's a developing story from over the weekend. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fans, WGR.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Joe Cali producing that incredible start to the show. So, what time did everyone stop watching the Samuelson goal? 2 a.m.?
12:45, maybe. Yeah. I don't know, actually.
Yeah.
I think you just fell asleep to a loop of it.
Your Spotify Wrapped next year is going to be like #1, the Samuelson goal.
Well, they were all different videos.
Right, true.
Like, Spencer Brown tweeted the video out. Well, let me watch it here. Or someone tweeted it without the play-by-play. It was just the sound. Let me hear it that way. Yeah, probably 10,000 times.
That Bills offensive line was on the Zamboni at one point. Every one of them today is thinking, we're getting back in for Game 2, right? Like, well, guys, tough ticket.
Yeah.
Defensive line goes to Game 2. I'm sure they've got space for
There
it.
should be a rotation.
Yep. Jeremy and Joe, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Are we supposed to get emotional after the first game? I'm listening to the highlights, and I'm just, all right, here it comes. Wow. What a night.
It couldn't have been a better return.
Yeah.
Really. Them toying with you for 2 hours not scoring a goal didn't feel great in the moment, but it added to that pop on the Samuelson goal and the explosion in the third period and the comeback. And, a comeback will feel better than just winning a controlling game, I think, because it's just you're being pulled from the death at the end. It was awesome. I think it's right to be emotional after that game. It could not have been a better return to playoff hockey.
Went from thinking, I don't know if they're going to score in the series on Swayman here, to 3 goals in 4 minutes and 4 goals in 6:46 to come from behind to win. So, just crazy.
Man, I felt all along, we were watching the game yesterday at Rec Room, my brother's standing there, and he's like, this goalie's, I'm like, they are gonna win this series. They have the puck the whole game. And we'll get to, like, there's numbers on that and whatnot, but they had the puck the whole game. They didn't have elite chances the whole game, but they just had it. And how long can you go without beating the goalie playing like that? I think eventually you're going to do it. And you know what? Like, sometimes your best player has got to be your best player. How often does that get said in sports? In every sport, all the time.
Paul says it a lot, especially about the Sabres.
Paul
says about the Sabres a lot.
Yeah, it's a mindset in sports. Like, your best player sometimes has just got to grab the game and be your best player. And, like, the Samuelson goal will be remembered for the pop and the feeling, and that's a great goal too. Quinn with what an effort, but Thompson won that game for them.
It's a Tage game. Yeah,
Tage won that game for them.
Yep. Both goals are incredible. The first goal is unbelievable.
Oh, his hands in that
unbelievable
phone booth are nuts.
It almost felt like it was going to take something superhuman. We were watching the game, like you said, at Rec Room with a big, huge watch party, which we had a great time. And I thought, they need a bounce. They're going to need some bounce off a skate.
A dirty goal?
Something, yes. Anything to just kind of get through and show that Swayman is human, that he can bleed. And Tage just really with an unbelievable superhuman kind of effort and hands there to get through once. And as soon as that happens, it's like, all right. They're on the board, whatever. My wife texted me during the third period, right after the Bruins went up 2-0, and she said, why do they look so nervous? Why is everyone so nervous? And I said, well, I think the goal that made it 2-0 really kind of like, oof. All of a sudden, we got to get 3 past this guy in order to win this game, and 2 in the next 19 minutes. So they found a way. They figured it out. And like you said, like the perfect a fitting start to the series. Driving in this morning, I'm ready to call it the perfect game in a very different way than the Bills one.
Right.
The Bills one is they were actually perfect. They couldn't have done anything better. And this one was the right way to start a series, to welcome themselves back, to climb out of a deficit, 2 goals at home. Everything about it was just like storybook. And the entire NHL is the entire NHL not watching the highlights too and thinking like, holy cow, those people are insane. Those people are losing their minds.
Yes, the pop on the goal or the gate falling over at Canal Side.
Another one of my favorite things.
The video outside.
And then the people lifting
someone's got to be watching that video, like just wherever in the country and going, wait a minute. These people have it's April, by the way. These people have their shirts off. It is snowing. They are outside, and like they're just taking the gate down with them.
And then they helped pick it back up. I thought that was very responsible.
Yeah, there was no rush.
Instead of everyone like rushing whatever is gated off, everyone in that front was like, oh, excuse us, let's get this gate back up.
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone actually crossed the barrier, even though the barrier had been broken. This
barrier is necessary. You need to be keeping us at bay here.
Game 2, stronger barrier?
Who knows?
You got to be ready for the third goal and a 3-goal comeback.
A 1-0 lead.
And a goal. Did it add to it or did it take away from it that Samuelson scores as Stone Cold Steve Austin is saying in the arena, give me a hell yeah? Does that add to it?
Is that why everyone cheered the pass? Because instead they were actually saying, give me a hell yeah?
They were saying hell yeah. Yes.
That's funny.
That happened because it was during the goal announcement. Or it was at the end. That's how quick after it was the second Tage goal. Like at the end of Tage's goal announcement, Samuelson is scoring.
803-0550, our phone number, and 1-888-550-2550. The Sabres are the better team. They can skate circles around that team. And did they get all 3 goals from the forecheck? Like, they got to work.
Yeah.
Again, like part of why it ends up for me feeling like the perfect rebirth into the playoffs is they're better than that team. And they should beat that team. Boston's got some pretty high-level talent. Geeky and Pasternak were both dangerous. I'm sure at some point in the next 5 minutes, we'll complain about the power play, which Lindy Ruff is not concerned. Which, okay. Glad he's the one. But whatever. We got time to just kind of remember that game. What a start to the playoffs for the Sabres and for Buffalo Sabres fans.
They are the better team. They could skate circles around them. They're going to have the puck the whole series. They're going to have the puck the whole series. And also, the idea that was put forward by Marco Sturm that they're bigger and more physical just could not have been further from the truth in game one.
It was pounded through the boards, that idea.
The Sabres are giant, and they were putting them through the wall in this game. I mean, Samuelson had big hits. The hit he had on Husnudinov, who is a foot shorter than Samuelson. Greenway puts Lindholm through the crossbar. And Tuck, by the way, Tuck looked like the guy who had played 65 playoff games, or whatever the number is for him in this one. He had 10 hits on the night. One of those hits creates the second Tage goal behind the net. He's 6'5". He's got the size for it. They just looked like the bigger and stronger team. On top of having the puck all game, I'm not sure the hit numbers are ever supposed to look that way.
Right.
When you
have
usually,
the puck and also out-hit your opponent.
Yeah, usually if you're piling up hits, it's because you didn't have the puck all game and you're chasing them around. They somehow had the puck and also, I don't know how many, I know they had 53 hits.
Yeah.
That had to be a lot more than what Boston had.
At even strength, they were double Boston on expected goal share, or expected goals in the game, I should say.
Yep.
So
53 to 38 were the hits. Yeah.
Out-hit him, outshot him, outskated him, and beat him. 1 game to none.
It's just the power play.
Just power play.
And I thought Luukkonen settled in. He was making me pretty nervous in the first period.
He did. We'll get to him.
Yeah.
I also thought about Swayman and his night. Whatever. We could talk about this, and I'm sure we'll do this throughout the morning, but I did not think, this is not to take anything away from Swayman, but put me in the group of people that thought in the first 2 periods the Sabres didn't do enough to make his job hard. What he needed to do, he did really well. But at the second intermission, what was their best scoring chance of the game? Was it Tage flying down the wing, hitting the stick of Swayman? Was that it?
Maybe McLeod screaming in on the power play on that chance.
They had 2 chances, though, and both of them were players coming down the right side.
Yeah.
Swayman's looking right at him. Those are their 2 best chances.
Yep.
We're just finding a way to get movement on the rush, which Boston pretty much shut down for most of the game. So, again, credit to the Sabres for breaking through that. But Swayman was going to be the first star, and I was ready to come in and say, all right, he's not going to make big mistakes for you, and you're going to need bounces or whatever it is. But I didn't think he was proving to be some superhuman through 40 minutes of that game.
It was just quietly perfect for most of it, and then you found the chink in the armor, and they attacked him. I thought he played. I agree, nothing overly dangerous from the Sabres, but he did everything he needed to do and made it look really easy, which I think probably frustrated the Sabres a bit, but they trusted it and just stuck with it. I think he's capable of playing like that every game, but if you're able to do what you did and just hammer away, you're going to get it eventually. And, the things I saw kind of came true. I thought some of the long-range rebounds were there all night for the most part. And then, Tage scores 5-hole, which is a trend that I noticed, picked up on. I mentioned that with you guys and on pregame before the game started. I think it was an impressive night, but you're not going to get much better out of him, and you beat him. So I think it was a great night for that. I think the nightmare came true in every way. Boston's path to victory was laid out, and they got there. Pastrnak, Geekie, and Swayman were all great, and you still got them. So I think that's a really good sign for the rest of the series.
Was Pastrnak great in this game?
2 breakaways.
He got stuffed on 2 breakaways. Well, I guess right. Is that good?
He got behind the defense.
You got the breakaways, but you didn't score on the breakaways.
Yeah, you'd take your chances getting a couple more if he's going to continue to get behind your defense.
Yeah, that's true.
You'd like to not have that happen.
They had a couple points, too. He
also,
was big.
Geeky, he scored a goal. What in the world is he doing
at the end of the first period? At the end of the first period.
You had the open net.
Look.
Take a look to your left. Luukkonen is in the corner. Well, you just shoot it. If I were a Bruins fan, I would feel defeated going into the first period up 1-0 because my best goal scorer just decided to pass when there wasn't a goalie in the net.
Right.
That was crazy.
I was halfway to the floor thinking that puck was in the net for Geeky.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
I was waiting for him to even slide, just realize when he passed it, my jaw hit the floor.
Yeah. That
he didn't recognize that it was, or did he and just think, well, by the time I shoot it, he's back, so let me pass it again? That was nuts.
803-0550 is our phone number. We'll talk with Paul coming up at 8 o'clock. And if you're just waking up, if you're tired, a lot of us are, Late night, 7:42 face-off. The game went kind of quick. And
7:42
also at 2-2, I thought we were in for a 1 a.m. overtime, double overtime affair. So thank you to Matthias Samuelson for ending it in regulation. Nice play from Jack Quinn, and off we go. 803-0550, the phone number. We'll talk about it with you. Craig on the road. Hey, Craig.
Hey, guys. I was there. Unbelievable. Bedlam. Just out of control. The funnest game I've ever seen. Before I get into the game itself, great job by the Sabres presentation in the arena from start to finish. Sabertooth repels down. They have Sandra Generat banging the drum. Just the entire time, the arena looked incredible. The vibes are, next level as you'd expect. The Samuelson goal, I was at the 100 level where Boston shoots twice. So I'm watching. You see him jump down, and they don't have him covered. I look and go, if they get the puck to him, and as I say it, there's Quinn's pass, sure enough, and they rip it. I mean, the building was shaking. It was out of control. The biggest thing, I thought the Sabres played well, but Boston did a really good job kind of keeping them to the outside. They weren't letting them go east-west, trying to set that type of pass up to shoot on Swayman and get him to move. So I think next game, just get a guy in front a little bit more to frustrate him so he's not seeing the puck as well, because he is a good goalie. Get a little bit of jab. They can't skate with us. You could tell. We were wearing on them, and once that first goal went in, you could start to see their breaking. That second goal, their spirit was dead. You could literally feel the vibe in the building shift, and Buffalo was like, oh, we got you now. You could see they were dispirited. It was fantastic. Also, there's no Bruins fans in the arena. I think I saw 4 all night. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Craig.
Yeah, the production of the game also was awesome. The Better Days video before the game that you and Bulldog are in blew me away. And that had come out a couple days before, but maybe you were in the arena last night and hadn't seen it yet. And watching it with everybody at the same time, that was amazing. Everything game-wise seemed like it was incredible. I might have a bone to pick with you on the Sandra Generat thing later, but but great that she was the one that did it.
Yeah.
And I thought that worked really, really well.
Our Drum Banger Fantasy League. We are on to game 2.
There's a controversy.
We're on to game 2 for the Drum Banger Fantasy League. 803-0550. Yeah, if you're Boston, I don't know, do you, of course, hate that you gave up the 2-goal lead in the third period, and it must have felt like an absolute avalanche coming down on you. They played a heck of a road game early. If they're gonna, like you said, if they're gonna win, how are they gonna do it? They're gonna do it with Swayman and Pasternak and Geeky and maybe the occasional contribution from somebody else down their lineup. But the first period, they get one, and it's all right. Now the path is, like you said, the path is there. Whether they're going to try and win it 1-0 and then 2-0, they had to feel great. Like, hey, keep things rolling. But whatever, this Sabres team is good. We know it. And they're, in years past, or whatever, I want to say in years past, they've missed the playoffs for 14 years. But, we've seen Sabres teams that can score but are a little bit reluctant to work through a muddy game when it's what Boston did. Mm-hmm. But this team on the forecheck, I don't have the updated stats on this, but late in the year, were they number 1 in the league on goals on the forecheck? Like that's a way this team creates.
Yeah.
So
all over you. It's their speed that's doing it.
And if you have to find a way to score on the forecheck, this team is up for that. They're one of the best in the league, with top 3 in the league on goals on the forecheck.
I just think if you are Boston, the series is not over. But
oh God, no.
I am not feeling great about my chances, because I think in that game, one way you might have thought you could steal one is we're going to take advantage of their nerves, and they haven't done this before, and we're going to hit them in the mouth right away, and we're going to hang on to a lead, and they're not going to be able to respond. And our goalie's going to steal a couple of games from us. Like that's how I'm going to win the series if I'm Boston. And what you got out of that game was evidence of, man, we got to play this team the next however many games. They are faster than us. They are more talented and skilled than us. They are bigger than us. They are deeper than us. What on earth am I going to do to them in this series if they don't have the nerves and the playoff newness stuff? If they don't have that, how am I going to win this series? I'm going to need my goalie.
Yeah.
It's like the only way I'm going to really do it. And I don't think that's going to be enough. Maybe that guy could steal you 1 or 2 games. I've no doubt about that. But is he going to steal 4 games for them?
Got to steal 4 out of 6.
Or am I going to get Boston for an entire game looking like the better team than the Sabres are? I can't imagine what that looks like. They didn't. Who were their guys creating chances last night? You mentioned like they have Pasternak, they have Geeky. Hagen's had a shot late in the third period.
Yep.
But that was the only time I really noticed him the whole game. I mean, I didn't notice any of that middle stat. Well, Zaka maybe had a couple chances, but middle stat, I didn't really notice. Husnadinov, didn't really notice. Arvidsson, not really. Like, any of their guys behind their top guns just were non-existent in this game.
Well, they didn't have a single player in the positive at 5-on-5 on shot attempts. Not one.
Not
one line, not one player. Zadorov was even 50-50 if you want to do like Corsi or whatever. But just shot share, not one line, not one player for Boston ended up on the positive end of that.
Yeah, in fact, their top pair on defense were really the ones that got run over. McAvoy and Asperat. That's been their top pair for a little bit now. When McAvoy was on the ice, the Sabres outshot him 8-2. When Asperat was on the ice, it was 10-2. And by the way, Lindy did do the thing I noticed yesterday where he was throwing Power and Byram against their top line. So maybe that was a lot of Dahlin out there and Samuelson against, I don't know what the matchup looked like on the blue line, but you were seeing Dahlin and Samuelson out there against their second line a lot.
Dave in Lockport's up next. Dave, good morning.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good.
Amazing night. I just want to talk about how clutch this team is and how clutch they've been all year. I'm sad to say that early on when they started turning this thing around, they got behind 2 or 3 in a game. I can't remember which one it was. But I turned it off. And the next day I found out they won. And, boy, I learned my lesson because from then on I just stuck in it with every game. And they just continue to come from behind. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick, too, was the shots on goal was amazing, lopsided. I didn't lose faith in that game because I knew that sooner or later one was going to go in. But, yeah, when that third period came down, that just was an onslaught of goals. And what a night for Buffalo. And I just want to real quickly also touch on Tage, his interview there quick after he got the first star, just giving all the recognition to the fans and everything. And you can tell these guys are just enjoying playing for the fans. It's not just double speak or anything. They're just really enjoying it. And I just want to say, go Sabres.
Thanks, Dave. I found myself, like you're talking about comebacks, I found myself thinking about the Tampa game where they were down, 6-4 and 7-5 late?
Yes.
And won that game in regulation. That's,
right.
A game of the year, regular season game against a great team. And that one, of course, was not like 2-0. It was 7-5. But still, I found myself thinking of that. Like 2 goals is not a lot. 3, maybe tough. But 2 goals is not a lot. Tage scores the first one, and it's the building's alive. And, belief, I'd imagine these guys have very little trouble believing in what they've been doing. For everything you want to say about experience, and this might have been something Dom Lecision said with us yesterday Friday. What day is it? I honestly, yesterday could have been Friday. I have no idea.
Yeah.
The weekends are gone. The Sabres own everybody's life now. He said about experience, like the way this team's been going, what would they possibly have trouble believing in? They might think they're a team of destiny, or who knows? They might just constantly think we're going to get the job done. And last night is another positive, like store that one away later in this series, later in these playoffs when it's really tough, or you're down a goal late in an important game, in an elimination game, whatever. Like, they got everything they needed last night from their big players and from Matthias Samuelson on the game-winning goal. 803-0550. We'll have you hear from all the players. We'll, of course, play the highlights. It's Victory Monday. Victory Monday.
Yes, it is.
For the Buffalo Sabres. The playoffs are back in Buffalo, and the vibes are incredible. They beat Boston, a 1-0 series lead. We're rolling phone calls pretty much until Paul joins us at 8. Hear from you along the way. Join us on YouTube. Join us wherever you are. What a night. Put an extra shot of espresso in the coffee. That'd be my advice.
I did do that today.
Yeah. It wasn't even that late of a night.
I added one.
It wasn't even that late of a night, but it was a late one. All right, 803-0550 on the Sabres. Welcome back. Jeremy and Joe here on WGR.
Thompson comes away with it. Thompson scores! Greatness from Tage Thompson to tie the game at 2 with 4:16 remaining.
It was awesome. I think it's right to be emotional after that game. It could not have been a better return to playoff hockey.
Went from thinking, I don't know if they're going to score in the series on Swayman here, to 3 goals in 4
Stinky
minutes.
Joe DiBiase here for a weekend 180
last to come from behind to win. So, just crazy.
Man, I felt all along, we were watching the game yesterday at Rec Room, my brother's standing there, and he's like, this goalie's, I'm like, they are gonna win this series. They have the puck the whole game. And we'll get to, there's numbers on that and whatnot, but they had the puck the whole game. They didn't have elite chances the whole game, but they just had it. And how long can you go without beating the goalie playing like that? I think eventually you're going to do it. And you know what? Sometimes your best player has got to be your best player. How often does that get said in sports? In every sport, all the time.
Paul says it a lot, especially
Paul
about the Sabres. Paul says about the Sabres a lot.
Yeah, it's a mindset in sports. Your best player sometimes has just got to grab the game and be your best player. And the Samuelson goal will be remembered for the pop and the feeling, and that's a great goal too. Quinn with what an effort, but Thompson won that game for them.
It's a Tage game. Yeah,
Tage won that game for them.
Yep. Both goals are incredible. The first goal is unbelievable.
Oh, his hands in that
unbelievable
phone booth are nuts.
It almost felt like it was going to take something superhuman. We were watching the game, like you said, a Rec Room with a big, huge watch party, which we had a great time. And I thought, they need a bounce. They're going to need some bounce off a skate.
A dirty goal?
Something, yes. Anything to just kind of get through and show that Swayman is human, that he can bleed. And Tage just really with an unbelievable superhuman kind of effort and hands there to get through once. And as soon as that happens, it's like, all right. They're on the board, whatever. My wife texted me during the third period, right after the Bruins went up 2-0, and she said, why do they look so nervous? Why is everyone so nervous? And I said, well, I think the goal that made it 2-0 really kind of oof. All of a sudden, we got to get 3 past this guy in order to win this game, and 2 in the next 19 minutes. So they found a way. They figured it out. And like you said, the perfect a fitting start to the series. Driving in this morning, I'm ready to call it the perfect game in a very different way than the Bills one.
Right.
The Bills one is they were actually perfect. They couldn't have done anything better. And this one was the right way to start a series, to welcome themselves back, to climb out of a deficit, 2 goals at home. Everything about it was just storybook. And the entire NHL is the entire NHL not watching the highlights too and thinking holy cow, those people are insane. The Sabres are the better team. They can skate circles around that team. And did they get all 3 goals from the forecheck? They got to work.
Yeah.
Again, part of why it ends up for me feeling like the perfect rebirth into the playoffs is they're better than that team. And they should beat that team. Boston's got some pretty high-level talent. Geeky and Pasternak were both dangerous. I'm sure at some point in the next, 5 minutes, we'll complain about the power play, which Lindy Ruff is not concerned. Which, okay, Glad he's the one. But whatever. We got time to just kind of remember that game. What a start to the playoffs for the Sabres and for Buffalo Sabres fans.
They are the better team. They could skate circles around them. They're going to have the puck the whole series. They're going to have the puck the whole series.
Quinn walks it out to the slot. Shot scores! Matthias Samuelson! Are you kidding me?
1-0. The Sabres rally late to shut down the Bruins in the first game of the playoff series in a third period comeback, 4-3. It's their first playoff win in 14 seasons after Buffalo was absent for the start of the game, at least in scoring. Tage Thompson scored the 2 goals to get the rally started. Here's more of Tage postgame.
Lack of experience. We've been in games that have prepared us for this. I think 8 years of adversity. It's enough experience to get you ready for something like this. I think anytime you go for 8 years and not making playoffs and then it's finally here, the last thing you want is regret.
No regret to start. They have a day off as they gear up for Game 2 coming up on Tuesday at KeyBank Center. Puck drop set for 7. All the action right here on WGR. Some other results from the weekend. Montreal beat Tampa Bay 4-3 in overtime. Flyers beat the Penguins 3-2, and the Hurricanes shut out the Senators 2-0. Looking around the NFL, the draft only a few days away. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported over the weekend that Dexter Lawrence signed a 1-year, $28 million contract extension with the Bengals. And New Orleans football's Nick Underhill believes Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson will probably be drafted in the top 10 picks. Georgia tight end Oscar Delp met virtually with the Texans and had a top 30 visit with the Browns. Georgia wide receiver Zachariah Branch, he was arrested for misdemeanor obstruction in Athens, Georgia on Saturday. It's still a developing story. In baseball, the Blue Jays beat Arizona 10-4. The Yankees beat the Royals 7-0, and the Mets lost 2-1 to the Cubs. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fans, WGR.
Byram behind the net. Krebs takes a hit. Tage scores! Tage! TNT Thompson sweeps it in from the near post, and it's a 1-goal game with 7:58 remaining in the third.
As one of your first moments of the game, for the moments in your life, go forth to Firth Jewelers. Tage Thompson. 2 goals for Tage. Tage was the game changer. The Game Changer is presented by Buffalo Law. When one moment changes everything, choose the right team. Visit buffalolaw.com. Tage Thompson, game changer. What a year for him. The Olympics.
40 goals.
40 goals. And, he scored a bunch in the Olympics, so he probably came into that game last night expecting to score. And looked like he was expecting to score. And finally got it done in the third period with a pair of goals, lifting the Sabres back into it, and they ultimately win 4-3 It's Alex Tuck's empty netter that goes as the game winner because they gave one up late. Jeremy and Joe, good morning, everybody. You can give us a ring at 803-0550. Joe Kelly producing, putting all the hype videos together, getting everybody fired up. Owen Parker here as well, running the stream. All right, question. UPL. Let's get there real quick. UPL on the 3 goals given up. The third one, I don't even know.
It's a deflection in front of the
Sure.
net. It's desperation. I mean, if they hadn't scored the empty netter, it would have been a really bad goal to give up. Well, maybe not by Luke, just like it would have been a bad goal emotionally to give up because it was with 4 seconds left.
But on the first 2 that Luukkonen gave up, Owen, you tell us. This is why you are our senior goaltending correspondent. Both of them had what looked to me like a similar tack where a puck didn't go where it was supposed to, and he kind of had to find and reset and like start from scratch. You know, like what the first one is that. What do you do?
Yeah, those are we classify those as broken plays, and they are really tough because when you're preparing for a shot like that and it's coming at you, you're bracing and you're trying to track into where it's going, into like coming at you, and so you're moving and your eyes are getting ready to receive the puck. And then when it stops a quarter of the way there and deflects off in another direction or goes somewhere else, it can be really tough to get back on it and find the puck again to retrack it. So especially when it goes to a guy like Geekie that can shoot it the way he can.
The first one, I feel like that's such a big advantage shooter.
Oh, it's huge.
Platter, broken play, bang.
I think of it very similar to like a seam pass. Like you talk about how often goals are scored after a seam pass that crosses the Royal Road and then the shot's taken quickly after that. It's a very similar thing to me because it just means the goalie doesn't have time to get set and find the puck. So I think that's a really tough one to have any problem with Luukkonen on.
On the first one.
I just don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's just tough.
Second one different because it went through him?
A little bit. Just going through is always, you want to make sure nothing ever beats you through your body, through your 5-hole. Those are always tough goals to give up. But again, when it's sort of that weird broken play, it's the post first, and then it's kind of blocked. It's the third sort of go at it. It's hard to blame him too much for that. I was really impressed by him to sort of rebalance and find his game. I thought the early glove save he made in the second period after the bad drop pass on the power play was really big for him. I thought he looked shaky in the first, and being able to just rip one out of the air like that was probably really good for him to just like sort of settle in. All right, I just made a good save in a big spot. Let's just calm down here, and I'm kind of in the game now. I think that was probably very big for him. I know it would have been if I was in that. So I think that was really impressive. So, yeah, I don't have any problem with any of the goals he gave up, really. The third one is sort of a throwaway, just tipped in front. It's just you're going to give that up. It was kind of the moment is also just, I don't know that it's hard. It's hard to stay sort of all the way locked in after that kind of eruption happens. You'd like to see him stay that way, but I understand why it might slip.
Yeah, I just want to see him next game look like he knows where the puck is more often.
Yeah.
There were a lot of moments, even that weren't goals. I mean, the first shot of the game was like he didn't know where it was. And like it looked like it was maybe on the goal line, and then a Bruin kind of poked it free and it came out and it got out. The play that we referenced in the first segment, Geekie at the end of the first period has the puck. Luukkonen has no idea where the puck is. There were a couple of plays like that along the way. There was a play in the third period like that where it's just he doesn't know where it is. And he never really got punished for it. So if that's just a one-off and tracking pucks isn't going to be a problem throughout the series, then I think he probably got away with that a little bit. But you're right. Like whenever he saw it, it felt like he was on it after that glove save.
Yeah, agreed. It looked like he was just a little bit behind the play at times. And with the playoff speed increasing, like he just maybe had to adjust to that.
And I think it's required as a goalie making your first ever playoff start. You have to have like a heart attack level save event in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like just one that comes to like to the post in his feet. Like, yo, what's happening?
Right.
What are we doing?
Right.
But he got through it. 803-0550. Justin in Lancaster. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I'd like to say that I wasn't worried and, was telling myself that, with the way they were playing and they'd win the game and the series, but I definitely found myself nervous, doomsday scenario that if they lost the game, the series is over. Obviously, that's not how things turned out. There are definitely specific things to talk about, positive, negative, and you guys will definitely get into that throughout the morning. I kind of like to get a little more ethereal. the no goal was my 9th birthday. I have a vivid memory of the Carolina game ending, my dad turning off the TV, throwing the remote to the couch, and going upstairs to bed without saying anything to any of us. So this was definitely cathartic to win this game. The Samuelson goal was obviously incredible, and Tage is superhuman. But what I'm going to remember from this game is the look on Tuck's face that he gave to the crowd after he scored that empty netter. It was the biggest smile I think I've ever seen. I turned to my wife. I said, look at his face. This is a guy that is, has obviously had success elsewhere, but is playing for his team from when he was a kid. And you could just tell it meant a lot just for everything they've gone through this season. I have no idea if he's going to be back next year, but that look on his face was incredible. It was just really fun to see that. And that was kind of the big moment for me. And I don't know, I scared my dog three different times throughout that night when he was fast asleep on the couch. So thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah, the ethereal part of it, watching with your parents, watching with your mom, your dad. This morning before I left, I said to my son, make sure mom, make sure you watch the highlights. Make sure you're going to see what happened in the game last night. They were panning the crowd, and I saw, a family there, and the kid is 7. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, what a score. You're 7 and you're at a playoff game.
Oh, yeah.
School night. Awesome.
School night.
They're all school night games.
What a joke if that was a school night. Come on, Sunday night. Fine, it worked out.
Well, yeah, we're here.
But
so if it had been on Saturday, we wouldn't be here to sit here and just revel in all of it happening.
That's true. We would have just a day later, eventually. Yeah, but Tuck was flying around the ice. I don't know how many chances he ended up having on his own. He had a couple of shots in the third where that became the case, but he had 10 hits last night. He did not have more than 5 in a game all year long. So he was into that game physically. He knocked down Arvidsson right away. Obviously makes the play before the second Tage goal. The empty netter. He's got the speed. He's going to be ahead of you on that. And the Bruins D is not going to be able to catch him. So, yeah, I think that line, that's your top line. And I think they were their best line last night. In fact, I did not really love their second and third lines. I thought Norris was a little bit lost at times, and he was falling over. McLeod, I thought there was their worst player on the night by far. It was 5. All the chances, you mentioned how the Bruins didn't have any player that, outshot the Sabres when they were on the ice.
Yeah.
High danger chances when McLeod was out there were 5-1 Bruins last night, and he was at the scene of the slot in both of their 2 goals. So I did not love him on the night, but I thought the Thompson line, even the fourth line, but the Thompson line was there from beginning to end.
803-0550. To Justin's point about things you'll remember from this game and take away from this game, I will remember preparing to come in and say, well, we're going to have to remember what it's like to also lose a playoff game. They do play best of 7. I was mentally preparing myself to say it's not over if they had lost
they
game
could just
1.
Win 15 in a row, and then
True.
you don't have to.
But it's not over. You can come back from down 3-0 to win a series, 3-1 to win a series. Never mind, 1 game to none. Look at the teams that lost on home ice in the opening round. Tampa lost.
Pittsburgh lost.
Dallas lost. All 3 on home ice.
Dallas got smoked.
Smoked. And those series are not over. The 05-06 Sabres, our favorite team arguably ever, one of them, lost 4-0 at home in Game 4 to Carolina in a series that went 7, and we feel like they should have won it. They lost the game 4-0. So.
The last time the Bruins and Sabres played in a series, the Sabres won Game 1. Did the Bruins win 3 in a row after that?
I think so. They definitely won Game 2.
I think they won 3 in a row after that.
Yeah, because
Sabres forced to Game 6.
Yeah, and then they won Game 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you're good.
I don't. This team, that Bruins team, is not beating the Sabres 3 times in a row, though.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so either. 803-0550, but, the ups and downs, the roller coaster, what the playoffs are, we got a good dose of it. DJ in Lockport. DJ, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. The second Tage scored that first goal, I was texting with a friend of mine, and I pretty much was they might have just woken up the Giant. A lot of guys you could tell were nervous. A couple guys I'm worried about and a couple guys that I'm happy with is, first off, Greenway. I thought Greenway had a really good game. He played Boston's game better than most of the Bruins players did. I feel like he was real physical and held on to the puck down low, and the cycling with Malice. I liked that line. I think they're going to be good going forward. Mm-hmm. A couple guys I'm worried about, not his play, but his physicalness. Benson was thrown around a lot. Anytime he touched the puck near a Bruin, he was on the ground within a couple seconds, and they were going back the other way. And Power looked like 0506 Vanek. He was, I don't know if the moment it's too big for him right now or he's just got to get used to it, but Power looked shaky. Like his stick was falling out of his hands. He's falling on the ground. Norris was falling around a lot too, but I'm a little worried about Owen Power. I don't know if he's kind of still playing, first or second week regular season hockey in the playoffs. So hopefully he stays.
I'm sure we'll do more on Power today. Owen was texting us in the group chat about Power's play and whatever. We can do a deeper dive. My initial thought on Power was you mentioned Vanek, and I think that's the perfect comparison because I think one thing about Owen Power's game, he never looks like he's going that hard or he never looks like he's jacked up. I thought he looked super calm. Like you say, it's funny, like eye of the beholder. You say it looked like he was just playing like a regular old game. I thought, yeah, it looks like he's just playing a regular old game. As far as Owen Power's heartbeat or intensity level, I say this as a positive. I thought he looked like it was a regular season game in December. Definitely not freaking out for the moment. That's just, isn't that his game? He's just.
I think so.
That's.
He did, by the way, play the fewest minutes he's played since December. Since December, I think, 10th. It's December 20th. The fewest minutes. He played 17:55.
Yeah.
So, that's not normal. Lindy is playing him normally.
Did he like the third pair a lot? Because I thought the third pair had one of its best games?
Yeah, I did think they played well.
Good.
But it was 13 minutes for Timmins and 11 for Stanley. It's not like they were on the ice a lot. Like, Lindy really leaned on Samuelson and Dahlin, and then Byram plays 5 minutes more than Power did.
Yeah.
So your top four kind of became a top 3+1 in this game, and that could have been Lindy saying, I don't like what I'm seeing. I mean, I personally didn't notice a lot I didn't like other than the second Bruins goal where he was turning around and the puck went between his legs. So I'm not here to tell you he had a good game. He just wasn't sticking out to me in a negative way before that. But I don't have the numbers in front of me on him either. So I don't know. Like, he was one of the guys, though, we were wondering about.
Yep.
Right? Like, what would that look like? And through one game, he had an assist. He had a puck go between his legs twice on a goal, and he played as few minutes as he's played in a long time.
The player I come out of the game ready to see a bit of a response from is Norris.
Yeah.
There are a couple plays in this game Norris was.
I thought he was done for when he crashed
Smashed
into the
face
boards
first into the boards.
first period.
Yeah.
Especially because Owen's in my head, because Owen has said repeatedly or multiple times, like, that guy's going to make it through a playoff series, and then, like, his third shift, he's crashing neck first into the boards.
He made it.
He got up. He did get up.
803-0550 to join us in 1-888-550-2550. Sabres lead 1-0 They'll be home for Game 2 on Tuesday at KeyBank Center. Taking your calls, chatting about it, your feelings, your viewpoint. Tell us where you were, how you saw it, whether you're at the game, a watch party, and what it all means to you. Great start to the playoffs for the Buffalo Sabres. 1-0 up on Boston. Jeremy and Joe here on WGR.
Get the shot away, but trying to fish for the rebound. And it comes to the line with the Bruins. Geeky chips it ahead. Pasternak's in alone. Pasternak. Luukkonen got enough of it. Great stop by Luukkonen. Stayed patient.
I just think if you are Boston, the series is not over. But
oh God, no.
I am not feeling great about my chances because I think in that game, one way you might have thought you could steal one is we're going to take advantage of their nerves, and they haven't done this before, and we're going to hit them in the mouth right away, and we're going to hang on to a lead, and they're not going to be able to respond. And our goalie's going to steal a couple of games from us. Like that's how I'm going to win the series if I'm Boston. And what you got out of that game was evidence of, man, we got to play this team the next however many games. They are faster than us. They are more talented and skilled than us. They are bigger than us. They are deeper than us. What on earth am I going to do to them in this series if they don't have the nerves and the playoff newness stuff? If they don't have that, how am I going to win this series? I'm going to need my goalie.
Yeah.
It's like the only way I'm going to really do it. And I don't think that's going to be enough. Maybe that guy could steal you 1 or 2 games. I've no doubt about
Jeremy
that.
White here for FanDuel.
Is he going to steal 4 games for them?
Got to steal 4 out of 6.
Or am I going to get Boston for an entire game looking like the better team than the Sabres are? I can't imagine what that looks like. They didn't. Who were their guys creating chances last night? You mentioned like they have Pasternak, they have Geekie. Hagen's had a shot late in the third period.
Yep.
But that was the only time I really noticed him the whole game. I mean, I didn't notice any of that middle stat. Well, Zaka maybe had a couple chances, but middle stat I didn't really notice. Husnadinov didn't really notice. Arvidsson, not really. Like any of their guys behind their top guns just were non-existent in this game.
Well, they didn't have a single player in the positive at 5-on-5 on shot attempts. Not one. Not one line, not one player. Zadorov was even 50-50 if you want to do like Corsi or whatever. But just shot share, not one line, not one player for Boston ended up on the positive end of that.
Yeah, in fact, their top pair on defense were really the ones that got run over. McAvoy and Asperat. That's been their top pair for a little bit now. When McAvoy was on the ice, the Sabres outshot him 8-2. When Asperat was on the ice, it was 10-2.
The Sabres are the better team. They can skate circles around that team. And did they get all 3 goals from the forecheck? Like, they got to work.
Yeah.
Again, like, part of why it ends up, for me, feeling like the perfect rebirth into the playoffs is they're better than that team. And they should beat that team. Boston's got some pretty high-level talent. You know, Geekie and Pasternak were both dangerous. I'm sure at some point in the next, 5 minutes, we'll complain about the power play, which Lindy Ruff is not concerned. Which, okay. Glad he's the one. But whatever. We got time to just kind of remember that game. What a start to the playoffs for the Sabres and for Buffalo Sabres fans.
They are the better team. They could skate circles around them. They're going to have the puck the whole series. They're going to have the puck the whole series.
Vegas won the late game last night, 4-2. That one got chippy, and there's a clip going around online of Nick Dowd looking and saying to Logan Cooley, "I'm going to kill you." Before they go and, like, shit, he goes and shakes hands with teammates after the game is ending.
Pointing and yelling.
"I'm going to kill you."
Yeah. Also, Montreal won in overtime, and the story at ESPN.com is John Cooper blames Lightning's, quote, stupidity in their Game 1 loss. No, not the Lightning. Playing dumb and undisciplined. Slavkovsky had a hat trick. They were all in the power play.
Power play goals, period, plural? I was happy when the Sabres got a shot on the power play. They got a shot.
Yep.
Man, how about the one drop pass?
Imagine if they had a power play. They'd score 10 goals a game.
How about the drop pass to the Bruins?
Yeah, that was tough.
That was amazing.
At least
real
Quinn,
low point there.
Good thing Quinn was back there.
We survived. 803-0550. Jeremy and Joe. Wide open for your phone calls when we get back. Paul at 8. We're alive. Sabres in the playoffs. Game 2 tomorrow night. The cadence begins here on WGR.
It was awesome. I think it's right to be emotional after that game. It could not have been a better return to playoff hockey.
Went from thinking, I don't know if they're going to score in the series on Swayman here, to 3 goals in 4 minutes, and 4 goals in 6:46 to come from behind to win. So, just crazy.
Man, I felt all along, we were watching the game yesterday at Rec Room, my brother's standing there, and he's like, this goalie's, I'm like, they are gonna win this series. They have the puck the whole game, and we'll get to there's numbers on that and whatnot, but they had the puck the whole game. They didn't have elite chances the whole game, but they just had it. And how long can you go without beating the goalie playing like that? I think eventually you're gonna do it, and you know what? Sometimes your best player has got to be your best player. How often does that get said in sports? In every sport, all the time.
Paul says it a lot, especially about the Sabres. Paul says about the Sabres a lot.
Yeah, it's a mindset in sports. Your best player sometimes has just got to grab the game and be your best player. And the Samuelson goal will be remembered for the pop and the feeling, and that's a great goal too. Quinn with what an effort, but Thompson won that game for them.
It's a Tage game. Yeah,
Tage won that game for them.
Yeah, both goals are incredible. The first goal is unbelievable.
Oh, his hands in that
unbelievable
phone booth are nuts.
It almost felt like it was going to take something superhuman. We were watching the game, like you said, at Rec Room with a big, huge watch party, which we had a great time. And I thought, they need to bounce. They're going to need some bounce off a skate,
a dirty goal,
something. Yes, anything to just kind of get through and show that Swayman is human, that he can bleed. And Tage just really with an unbelievable superhuman kind of effort and hands there to get through once. And as soon as that happens, it's like, all right. They're on the board, whatever. My wife texted me during the third period, right after the Bruins went up 2-0, and she said, why do they look so nervous? Why is everyone so nervous? And I said, well, I think the goal that made it 2-0 really kind of oof. All of a sudden, we got to get 3 past this guy in order to win this game, and 2 in the next 19 minutes. So they found a way. They figured it out. And like you said, the perfect a fitting start to the series. Driving in this morning, I'm ready to call it the perfect game in a very different way than the Bills one.
Right.
The Bills one is they were actually perfect. They couldn't have done anything better. And this one was the right way to start a series, to welcome themselves back, to climb out of a deficit, 2 goals at home. Everything about it was just storybook. And the entire NHL is the entire NHL not watching the highlights too and thinking holy cow, those people are insane. The Sabres are the better team. They can skate circles around that team. And did they get all 3 goals from the forecheck? They got to work.
Yeah.
Again, part of why it ends up for me feeling like the perfect rebirth into the playoffs is they're better than that team, and they should beat that team. Boston's got some pretty high-level talent. Geeky and Pasternak were both dangerous. I'm sure at some point in the next 5 minutes we'll complain about the power play, which Lindy Ruff is not concerned. Which, okay, glad he's the one. But whatever, we got time to just kind of remember that game. What a start to the playoffs for the Sabres and for Buffalo Sabres fans.
They are the better team. They could skate circles around them. They're going to have the puck the whole series. They're going to have the puck the whole series.
Thompson comes away with it. Thompson scores! Greatness from Tage Thompson to tie the game at 2 with 4:16 remaining.
1-0. The Sabres rally late to shut down the Bruins in the first game of the playoff series in the third period comeback by a score of 4-3. The first playoff win in 14 seasons after Tage Thompson got the scoring started to tie the game with 2 goals. Matthias Samuelson buried one to take the lead. Here's Samuelson post-game.
It was unbelievable. We go off from warm-ups. It's basically full. Opening puck drop, had chills. I was worried I was going to fall over. I was so anxious with all the energy. Fun night. I said to Stan at the end of the game, that might have been the coolest moment of my life. Just so loud, couldn't even hear myself think. Fans are unbelievable tonight.
They have the day off as they gear up for Game 2 coming up Tuesday at KeyBank Center. Puck drop set for 7 o'clock right here on WGR. Some other results from the weekend. Montreal beat Tampa Bay 4-3 in overtime. The Flyers beat the Penguins 3-2, and the Hurricanes shut out the Senators 2-0. Looking around the NFL, the draft only a few days away. From ESPN's Adam Schefter this morning, the Eagles remain open to trading A.J. Brown. The Patriots remain highly interested in acquiring the star receiver. Conversations are expected to resume shortly on or before June 1st, likely culminating in a deal. Trade to New England now considered likely. Schefter also reports Dexter Lawrence signing a 1-year, $28 million extension with the Bengals. New Orleans football's Nick Underhill believes Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson will probably be drafted in the top 10 picks. And Georgia wide receiver Zachariah Branch was arrested for misdemeanor obstruction in Athens, Georgia on Saturday. It's a developing story still. In baseball, the Blue Jays beat Arizona 10-4. The Yankees beat the Royals 7-0, and the Mets lost 2-1 to the Cubs. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fans, WGR.
It was us. We looked at it, the 5-on-5. There is not really anything was really dangerous for like 50 minutes or even more, really. But again, their danger is also in the slot, and that's where they scored the goals, and we just didn't protect it.
Bruins coach Marco Sturm. I tend to agree. Not a ton that was all that dangerous 50 minutes into the game. Sabres down 2-0, score 4 goals in the span of 6:46 and win 4-3 to take a 1-0 series lead. Good morning. Jeremy and Joe here on WGR. Happy to have you along with us. We had a big watch party. We were out at Rec Room for the game. Mm-hmm. It was a scene. It was everything you want from your first playoff game. If you're not at the arena or at Canal Side, wherever you were at your watch party, the bar goes crazy, people taking videos.
Yep.
And
there were sparklers.
Yes. So shout out to Rec Room. We had a great time, great TVs, and key, this is for hockey.
Yeah.
Not only does the sound have to be on,
it's got to be loud.
Loud enough that I hear the boards thump when I'm watching it at a watch party. I need that level of clarity. And
they had it cranked.
Yes.
We were ready to go on that.
We had a great time.
Yeah. I didn't mind, too. I noticed, like, in the third period, I've been watching most of the game on one of those big screens that's really like 9 TVs all placed together. So that way you have like the little the line grid going through it, and I didn't notice that until like the third period.
Yeah.
I've been watching this game all game with these like black marks in the middle of the screen. I'm just not noticing.
Your brain just like takes them out.
Right. And also it's so big that you didn't really care. But yeah, it was a great time. Thanks everyone who came out. It was hugging strangers season again.
Hugging, high-fiving in the streets, things of that nature. 803-0550 to join us. Also coming up, Game 2 tomorrow.
Yep.
And then for Game 3, we have a watch party again that'll also be the NFL Draft. So just want to let you know about that. At Bright Smith on Niagara Street on Thursday night. We'll be there for Game 3 and the Draft. Joe and I will be there. Big, huge buffet. Giveaways, prizes. Go to brightsmithbrewing.com for right at the front page. You can grab tickets to that. That one you need tickets, but there's a whole mess of food and beer and everything. So,
and I was there actually this past weekend for a party, and they have 2 big projector screens. So
nice.
Both will be on.
That's right. Game 3 in Boston Thursday, but of course Game 2 is before that. That's tomorrow night. 803-0550, our phone number. We'll get back to your phone calls in 1-888-550-2550 on a magical night for the Sabres. For Tage Thompson, Matthias Samuelson, Alex Tuck, the game-winning goal, which ends up being the empty netter. Mm-hmm. We got to decide when the appropriate time to talk about the power play maybe is.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Is it tomorrow?
Maybe. Okay. They are really, to their credit, they are so good at 5-on-5 that the power play hasn't really killed them this year. Like there are teams that I don't think are all that good at scoring that can be lifted up by a good power play. And the Sabres, man, if they had a great power play, they would be the best offensive team in the league, wouldn't they?
Probably.
And it is weird they are so good at chances 5-on-5 and so poor on the power play. I don't know what that is. Is that your blue line not being as active? I'm not sure, but I don't think it will. This series specifically, I don't think it will kill them. They did win a lot of games in April, and they are 0 for 26 on the power play in April. So they still do manage to win, despite the fact that they haven't scored in a month on the man advantage. And there have been 5-on-3s in there, too, by the way.
0 for their last 26.
Yeah, 0 for 26.
If they were 3 for 26, that would be bad.
Correct.
That's a bad power play.
It would.
3 for 26 would be a bad power play. 0 for 26, woof.
Here's the thing, though. Again, you told me right now they won't score a power play goal this whole series. I'd still pick them to win the series.
Sure, but would you pick them to beat Tampa or Montreal?
No.
Maybe not.
No, I would not.
I
think I'll need a power play goal.
Gonna need some power play goals here or there.
They had 5 between the two of them last night in Game 1. Montreal and Tampa. Yeah, 5 power play
7 goals in the game and 5 on the power play in that game. 803-0550. Joey in Memphis is up next. Joey, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Appreciate you for having me. So I was watching the game with my girlfriend down in Starkville, Mississippi. Hockey's not been a big part of my culture, just growing up, and I've been watching it quite recently, really to fill the void between Bill's off season, since it's just been huge letdowns, and this is a huge opportunity to win the Stanley Cup. Like it doesn't happen all the time, and I recognize it. Now, forgive my ignorance, and I just don't really watch hockey enough to understand, but obviously with the power play struggles, I don't understand why. I noticed it a lot with Tage not being able to push the puck in the middle, just being able to attack the Bruins in front of the net. It just seemed like mind-boggling that the puck kept getting smacked out of play. The power play just would not get past the blue line in the middle. The only way we could get in their zone was sending it down the boards. But aside from that, I appreciate you guys for having me. Go Sabres.
Thanks, Joey. Boston clogged up a lot. I mean, Boston's dropping 4 guys back with a 1-goal lead and then a 2-goal lead. Like, Boston's planning to win that game 2-0.
That's a good sign that you can, when a team's in prevent like that in the third period of a playoff game, those are going to be the hardest games to dig out of. The fact that you can score that many times when a team is in that mode.
Yeah, you're in a negative game script at that point.
It's hard to score when that's the case. Like, how many games against the regular season games against the Islanders can you remember over the years where they get a 1-0 lead and then they just choke you out for the rest of the game? And Boston tried to do that, and you were just... I do think the point about where the goals came from is important. They're bigger. The Sabres are bigger, and all those goals started below the goal line. Tuck on one of Tage's goals, Tage and Krebs on another, and McLeod on the third one. All those, and Quinn too. All those plays started below the goal line, and you worked it back up. Like that's where you got to do it. That you've got to chip it in. You got to go get it because you can't always carry it in the playoffs. And they showed yesterday, we could do that. Which they've done all year. We got to win a game this way? Fine. We got to win a game up and down the ice? Fine. We got to close out a lead? Got it. This one is come back, and you've got to do it by more dumping and chasing and winning battles behind the net, being physical to get it out to a good individual play. Yeah, that is another good sign that they can win in the playoffs.
Was it the least chippy, scrummy game of anyone that you watched?
Yeah, there was,
over the 2 days?
There was really only one scrum the whole game.
Yeah, not a lot.
No, it's just the Benson and Timmins against that was Boston's fourth line out there. They were going after Stanley at one point.
But not a ton of that
Stanley
stuff.
just laughed at him. No, there wasn't much.
And Boston doesn't have a lot of guys like that.
They don't.
I know they're the Bruins, but they don't have a team like that.
No, their fourth line has, Tanner Jeannot is like that, and he's the one who fired up that scrum in the first place because he went after Sandley. But other than him and Corrali and Kastelik, which is their bottom line, I don't know. There's nobody higher in the lineup that really plays that way. So you might not get a lot of that. Which, again, is the absurdity of they're bigger and more physical. And they don't have guys throughout the lineup. Zadorov would be another one.
Yep.
You got to go to their defenseman. Zadorov would be. And he did. He threw one big hit in this game that we noticed. He got doned.
He got doned
at one point, but there was nothing dirty about it.
Kind of sifting through all the memories. It wasn't like taking notes, but one other thing we have not yet gotten to is, have you ever seen a playoff game officiated like that? The calls were both sides.
Was there a single call that wasn't ticky-tack?
I thought the one that Tuck drew,
where he got held?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was a real penalty, and the rest of them, I thought it was a bunch of soft calls.
On both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was weird.
This is the playoffs?
The first one on Dahlin, which was really light. Such a tiny little stick infraction. And it's this is the playoffs. This is going to get called in the playoffs. And I thought, all right, as long as you're going to do that the whole game. They did do it the whole game.
They did.
They stuck with that standard.
The slash on the Sabres, I thought was a light slash.
Listen, I feel like
a penalty on the Bruins.
They won't call penalties like that the rest of the series, right? If they did, would that not benefit the Sabres? No, it wouldn't, because power plays. I was going to say because you're thinking the more skilled team, the more fast team, less infractions is good. Because they're afraid of taking penalties, but why should they be afraid of taking penalties?
I might want to bet the Sabres score shorthanded before they score a power play goal. They're good shorthanded.
That's an interesting bet. What would the odds be on that? You'd want odds, I think.
For sure. Rob in Connecticut's up. Hey, Rob, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's everything going? I shouldn't even have to ask that question. Just like Peter Griffin says from Family Guy, that was awesome. I appreciated the game. I heard you guys all the way here in Connecticut. It was just unbelievable. First two periods, what I appreciated the most was, and Owen touched on it, hammering away. I kept saying during the game, chiseling away. They're chiseling away at Swayman. Just keep chiseling away. Eventually you're going to break him. When they scored the second goal, when the Bruins scored the second goal in the third period, it did knock the wind out of me a little bit. But then, I was listening to it on the radio, on Alexa, and I had Alexa turned up loud. So I just to appreciate the crowd and everything, and then listening to Dan Dunleavy, he did such a great job. It helps me because he's so precise on who has the puck, and it gives me that visual, But the one thing that I took away from this game was the Bruins definitely did a good job in clogging up the neutral zone. I hope that Buffalo works on, creating more plays in the neutral zone instead of just relying on the dump and chase, if I sound correct. And, when TNT scored the second goal, I lost my mind. I did have the game on the TV, but low, because whatever was taking place was happening before the radio, so I wouldn't scare my fiance. So she knew what was coming, because she told me, she says, I saw it coming. And, I lost my mind last night. Samuelson, that goal just... I can't wait, man. This series is going to be awesome.
Thanks, Rob. On the Samuelson goal, two things. One, go back and watch the Zucker screen on that play, which is incredible, like a veteran. Like, Zucker is a guy that, whatever, a lot to say about him and what he means to this team. The Samuelson goal, go back and watch like you have 1,000 times. Watch how casually he shoots it. That's my favorite part of it now. It's like he's just ripping it into the net before skating off because warm-ups are over.
Yeah.
He's just going to casually throws it there, turns, and finds its way through. Not a big lean into it, not a big stick whip, just into the net for what he then called the coolest moment of his life.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't really
it's just kind of an afterthought.
There's no down on one knee. There's no, it's just, I mean, he's so big that, like, he'll get that much torque on his stick even without really going 100% on it.
Fitting for him to get it when talking about, like, he had that piece at the Sabres posted, a letter to the fans about how much it means to all the players in the playoffs and being back. And, you know, his arc. His arc is the Sabres' arc, is it not? Kind of left for dead last year. Nothing's doing anything. It's not going anywhere. It's a mess again.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. He's really good.
Yeah.
End of arc.
You know, there's another thing I'm noticing for the first time watching this play for the 1,000th time. Do you see what happens to the Bruins? What happens to their defenseman? He has the puck behind the net, and he's going to try to whip it around. Stick breaks. And then I think, I'm trying to figure out who exactly, is it Lindholm? Whoever stick breaks. Yeah, okay. The forward comes back and hands his stick to the defenseman, and that is what puts them all out of position. So, but maybe you know,
little bounce,
the break's going your way. In this case, it was a legitimate break that maybe the hockey gods like, yeah, all right, this guy's stick's gonna break right here in this moment, and it's gonna put them all out of position. He's still got to score the goal. Like, you're one-on-one with a goalie that's really good. You're right though. Zucker
screen, yeah.
I'm not sure Swayman sees it. Zucker is right in front of him and leaps out of the way at the perfect time.
I mean, it took me 15 watches on replay to know where the puck went in, so Swayman must be doing the same thing. Like
blocker, right?
Yeah.
High blocker.
803-0550 and 1-888-550-2550. What a scene. The entire Bills offensive line was on the Zamboni at one point.
Yes.
Kurt Russell was in the building. All right.
Wyatt Russell was in the building.
I thought Kurt was there with him.
Kurt was in the building?
Yeah. No?
No,
okay, I thought he was there with him.
He was on the video that they
I know. I
created.
thought he was at the game with him.
He was on. I think he was on set somewhere with palm trees, and so I don't think he was.
Well, there's a recorded video from earlier, like in the week. I thought. Okay. Whatever, not important.
Yeah, I don't think Kurt Russell.
I learned who Wyatt Russell is this week. By the way, I did not know the existence of Wyatt Russell. Should I?
We talked to him on the air.
When?
Year ago, I'm pretty sure.
About what?
They had just come out with their new drink.
Oh, okay.
And I think we talked to him about Miracle and like filming it and like how they did it, the game and whatnot, because he was there and he played hockey.
All right.
He
jumped in the lake.
Let me check that. That could have been a couple of years ago, and maybe me and Sal talked to him, or maybe you weren't here.
Might have been.
But he was on this. He was on this station, and it was either this show. I think it was this show. Maybe you weren't here.
I'll take your word for it. I forget things. Dominic,
you're the old guy now,
I am old. I forget things now. Dominic, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking another one of my calls. I just wanted to say a couple things about the game last night. I agree, like, calling that the perfect game is an excellent description, even though it's very different than the Bills' version of the perfect game, because it just couldn't have been, like, better in an emotional, like, just standpoint. And that Tage goal was, like, just superhuman. Like, I don't know. No one's going to stop that because I don't think another human being on the planet can do that. But, like, my favorite part about the game was not hating on Marco Sturm. They lost. He took it like a man. He didn't pull a John Cooper and make excuses. But, when they said they're bigger, they're more physical, and then after we take the lead, Bo Byram, who's not like a bone-crushing hit guy, you heard the boards rattle throughout, like on the TV. I wasn't in the arena. But, like, he just blasted a guy. And then with under a minute left, one of the Bruins players, I forgot what defenseman of ours he did it to, like, tries to hit one of our defensemen and then bounces off him into the boards like a toddler. Like, I just thought that was, like, such a great exclamation point on that win after we were told we're smaller and going to get, pushed around. That's all, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Dominic.
Yeah. The Byram hit late was another, like, the crowd was already going nuts, but it was like an extra crowd pop on top of people already cheering. I forgot who he hit, but he destroyed whoever it was, like, near the corner as they were trying to ice the game out.
Round 1, game 1. Where do we go from here?
Is it the best game 1?
I mean, game 1 against the Flyers in double overtime.
We've had some good game 1s. I mean, game 1 against Ottawa, even though it wasn't home, 7-6.
7-6.
I mean, it was amazing. Lindy did say last night that this was the most special one. But I think they specifically asked him about this game versus his first playoff win.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure what that even is. 98 probably or something. It's on the Mount Rushmore of game 1s for me. Those two we just mentioned, pretty good.
803-0550.
They were just so impressive, I thought, the whole game. I know they didn't have, like, the best chances early on, but the way they moved the puck, Rob mentioned, like, they were clogging up the neutral zone. I don't know. I feel like the Sabres skated pretty well. I think they had an ability to move through the zone when they wanted to, and they looked like the faster team. I don't think Boston did a great job of really stifling them. Like, it didn't look to me like, again, you think of Islanders hockey in recent years, just they are going to drag a game into this slow pit for 60 minutes, and I don't really feel like Boston, I think Boston maybe did that once they were in the zone. But I don't know. I felt like every time the Sabres had the puck, they're starting in their own end, they're building up speed, and they're getting in. And then it's just working the walls, and they just couldn't get to the middle a lot.
Well, what if there's a different game script? What if the Sabres have a 2-0 lead in a game? What does it look like? Can Boston chew their way through the Sabres like the Sabres did last night?
I don't think so.
I would wonder about that, right?
They have one line that could.
Right. They have one line that could really fire
it.
up, and, we could talk about what the Sabres do when they're protecting a 2-goal lead. But, like, part of what is impressive about last night, like, I tend to agree with two things, that I thought the Sabres played well, but also they didn't have very many very good chances. Like, testament to Boston through 50 minutes, as many times as Marco Sturm says that, or we hear him say that, I thought he was right. Like, you're down 2-0, they can really kind of park the bus, to steal a soccer term there. And the first goal in this series, the first goal of the game might dictate the kind of game you're going to get. If the Sabres score first in one of these games, it might open up. And if Boston scores first, I think they try to shut things down because they don't have the depth, and that's probably their answer. And for a while, it looked like it was going to work.
Well, the other thing is, do they have an answer for Thompson specifically? Because the Sabres, I feel like the game Samuelson had last night, the game Dahlin had last night, like, if those two got to go out there against their top line and, like, match them, I feel pretty good about how that's going to go. But the McAvoy pairing last night got destroyed when they were on the ice. And they do not have a deep blue line. Like, the Bruins cannot withstand their top pair with McAvoy getting run over like that. And they did. And they tried to match them up with Thompson, and they couldn't handle him. He had some good chances, I would say, before the third period. He had a couple wrist shots coming in with speed.
Tage did, yep.
But man, if they are going to get worked like that down low by that top line, by the Sabres, I think the Sabres have more depth, so it might not even be as important, but it's another really good sign that they were able to really destroy the Bruins' top pair on a blue line that does not have three good pairs.
803-0550. Of course, everyone's also talking about the drum banging and who will go for Game 2.
There was some insider trading on this. I don't like it. I think he should be suspended for Game 2.
The score in the Drum Banger League is...
Postseason ban.
Excuse me. Is me 1, you 3, 0.
There's going to be some recruiting violations that are going to have to be investigated here.
RJ's wife banged the drum. I mean, who among us is not allowed to hear rumblings of who it might be and then draft that person to their team?
Not even that person. You drafted RJ's family.
The family was there.
Multiple people.
His son was on the broadcast in the second period, maybe?
Early second period, yeah.
Well, that's the point.
I don't like it.
1 point.
You were told things before the draft idea was even proposed.
What can I say? I saved it to the third round. It was a third-round pick.
I think he should be banned for Game 2, personally.
I have heard who's going to be Game 2.
Okay, then you're definitely banned from Game 2. Is he on your? Is it on the person on your team?
No.
Okay, there you go.
No.
Is the person on someone else's team?
I cannot comment at this time. All of a sudden...
What do you mean?
All of a sudden
it's not like we can... if you don't tell us who it is, we're not going to drop
Let
anybody.
the record show. You hated that I had the information before. Now you want the information.
But I'm not asking for who it is. I'm asking if one of the three of us have the person.
You want some information, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe I want to make a trade. Anyway, the score is me 1, you guys 0.
Under protest.
I'm wearing my Imagine Losing to a River Hockey Team shirt. This is
really good.
26 shirts made this one. Love it. River Hockey. Wasn't really River Hockey. It was forecheck hockey, right?
Forecheck, physical, playoff hockey.
Is that the opposite of River Hockey? Who even knows what River Hockey is? The Sabres are River Hockey. 803-0550. 1-888-550-2550.
7:30 again for tomorrow, huh?
And that means like 7:42 again?
Yeah. All right. Whatever. Fine. I don't care. Put the game out at 9. I'll enjoy it.
Right back to it tomorrow night at KeyBank Center. Tonight.
Better weather for the Canal Side people tomorrow, maybe?
Credit those people that stuck it out. I mean, it looked like it was going to be terrible. It was just cold and windy, not like that bad, but still.
One friend of mine was there last night, and I'm like, you're gonna brave the you're gonna brave the elements. Like, I go to Bills games.
True.
I'm talking 30 degrees. It's 35 degrees. This is nothing.
Yeah. 4 games on the way tonight. The first game between the Ducks and Oilers is at 10 o'clock. The Flyers at 7 take a 1-0 series lead against Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Carolina's up 1-0 on Ottawa.
That game
was
boring.
It was very boring. It was not a very good game.
That series is going to be competitive, and nothing is going to happen.
That's
for 7 games.
That's a 7:30 face-off in Carolina,
Yep.
and then at 9:30 Minnesota at Dallas for Game 2. The Wild are up 1-0.
I appreciate Dallas wearing black so that it's not too much green in that series. Did you see what they were wearing?
Yes.
It's like their 90s jerseys, but
the star ones?
Yeah.
Yep. 803-0550. More of your phone calls. Jump in. I'd love to hear from you. Sabres win Game 1, Game 2 tomorrow. Paul Hamilton, top of the hour here on WGR.
Pressure at the line by Thompson and Tuck. Net is empty for Thompson. He's got 2. Can't get it out. Bouncing puck at the dot. Thompson off the boards. Alex Tuck. Empty net. Alex Tuck scores! Raise the roof.
The Samuelson goal, go back and watch like you have 1,000 times. Jeremy White here for Russell's Tree and Shrub Farm. Talk about your gardening. That's my favorite part of it now. It's like he's just ripping it into the net before skating off because warm-ups are over.
Yeah.
He's just going to casually like throws it there, turns, and like finds its way through. Not a big lean into it, not a big stick whip, just like into the net for what he then called the coolest moment of his life.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't really
it's just kind of an afterthought.
There's no down on one knee. There's no it's just I mean, he's so big that like he'll get that much torque on his stick even without really going 100% on it.
Fitting for him to get it when talking about like he had that piece at the Sabres posted a letter to the fans about how much it means to all the players and the playoffs and being back, and you know his arc is the Sabres arc, is it not? Kind of left for dead last year. Nothing's doing anything. It's not going anywhere. It's a mess again.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. He's really good.
Yeah.
End of arc. Was it the least chippy, scrummy game of anyone that you watched?
Yeah, over the 2 days. There was really only one scrum the whole game.
Yeah, not a lot.
No, it's just the Benson and Timmins against. That was Boston's 4th line out there. They were going after Stanley at one point,
but not a ton of that.
Stanley
stuff.
just laughed at him. No, there wasn't much.
And I mean, Boston doesn't have a lot of guys like that.
They don't.
I know they're the Bruins, but they don't have a team like that.
No, their 4th line has like Tanner Jeannot is like that, and he's the one who fired up that scrum in the first place because he went after Stanley. But other than him and Corrali and Kastelik, which is their bottom line, I don't know. Like, there's nobody higher in the lineup that really plays that way. So you might not get a lot of that. Which, again, is the absurdity of they're bigger and more physical and stuff. Like, they don't have guys throughout the lineup. Like, Zadorov would be another one.
Yep.
Like, you got to go to their defenseman. Zadorov would be, and he did. He threw one big hit in this game that we noticed. He got Doan.
He got Doan
at one point, but there was nothing dirty about it.
the Sabres are the better team. They can skate circles around that team. And did they get all 3 goals from the forecheck? Like, they got to work.
Yeah.
Again, like, part of why it ends up, for me, feeling like the perfect rebirth into the playoffs is they're better than that team. And they should beat that team. Boston's got some pretty high-level talent. Geeky and Pasternak were both dangerous. I'm sure at some point in the next, 5 minutes, we'll complain about the power play, which Lindy Ruff is not concerned. Which, okay. Glad he's the one. But whatever. We got time to just kind of remember that game. What a start to the playoffs for the Sabres and for Buffalo Sabres fans.
They are the better team. They could skate circles around them. They're going to have the puck the whole series. They're going to have the puck the whole series.
Thompson comes away with it. Thompson scores! Greatness from Tage Thompson to tie the game at 2 with 4:16 remaining.
1-0. The Sabres rally late to shut down the Bruins in the first game of the playoff series in a third period comeback, 4-3. It's their first playoff win in 14 seasons after Tage Thompson got the scoring started. To tie the game with 2 goals, Matthias Samuelson buried one to take the lead. Here's Samuelson postgame.
It was unbelievable. We go off from warm-ups. It's basically full. Opening puck drop, had chills. I was worried I was going to fall over. I was so anxious with all the energy. Fun night. I said to Stan at the end of the game, that might have been the coolest moment of my life. Just so loud, couldn't even hear myself think. Fans were unbelievable tonight.
They have a day off as they gear up for Game 2 coming up on Tuesday at KeyBank Center. Puck drop set for 7:30. You'll be able to catch that all right here on WGR. Some other results from the weekend. Montreal beat Tampa Bay 4-3. In overtime, the Flyers beat the Penguins 3-2. And the Hurricanes shut out the Senators 2-0. Around the NFL, draft day only a few days away from ESPN's Adam Schefter. The Eagles remain open to trading A.J. Brown. The Patriots remain highly interested in acquiring the star wide receiver. In conversations, they're expected to resume shortly after or on June 1st, likely culminating in a deal. A trade to New England now considered likely per Schefter. Schefter also reports Dexter Lawrence signing a 1-year, $28 million extension with the Bengals. New Orleans football Nick Underhill believes Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson will probably be drafted in the top 10 picks. In Georgia, wide receiver Zachariah Branch was arrested for misdemeanor obstruction in Athens, Georgia on Saturday. In baseball, the Blue Jays beat Arizona 10-4, the Yankees beat the Royals 7-0, and the Mets lost 2-1 to the Cubs. That's your Paddock Chevrolet sports headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Kelly for Western New York's Voice of the Fans, WGR.
Swayman leaves it behind the net, but not a clear play. Quinn walks it out to the slot. Shot scores! Matthias Samuelson! Are you kidding me? 3 straight from the Sabres, and they've erased the deficit and taken their first playoff lead. It's 3-2.
All right. Dan Dunleavy on the call. One of the Firth moments of the game brought to you by Firth Jewelers. For the moments in your life, go forth to Firth. So there's the call from Dan. I think the coolest thing about this highlight, it's going around. I just sent it to Joe Kelly. He's going to play it here for a minute. Because in that highlight, you can hear, of course, like Dan, the crowd. It's pretty big.
Yep.
There's a clip going around that is just the crowd.
Yeah.
Just the crowd. No arena announcements, no ESPN, no Dan, nothing. Just the crowd on this. And it's like a quick 30-second clip here we'll play for you. But we talk sometimes about roar before the horn, which I love. I always love when the cheer for the goal happens before the goal horn.
Yeah.
Because everyone's so locked in and everyone goes nuts. And this play it's kind of, for me, it reminds me of a home run. You know, when you hit a big towering drive off the bat, there's the roar.
Yeah.
When it's in the air, and then the roar when the ball gets deposited in the stands.
Yeah, right.
2 roars. And this goal from Samuelson gets that treatment because maybe they're still announcing the previous goal.
Yeah, I heard of like a cell phone cam of that, and like the yeah on "Give Me a Hell Yeah" that the crowd gives kind of evolves as it's happening because the pass to Samuelson is occurring while they're saying yeah. It's like, yeah, oh! Like it
Right.
becomes a different word almost in the middle of it.
He's in such a good scoring position that as Quinn pokes it out to him, there's a cheer for the pass before the shot before
Right.
the goal.
Right.
So here's just the crowd on that goal. It's almost like everybody. Maybe it is the hell yeah part.
No,
of it.
but you could tell, you could hear it there. Like they're starting to say hell yeah, and like then it becomes something else.
Every person's like Samuelson.
Yes,
he's
right.
open.
Right.
Amazing.
The other thing I love when you freeze frame it on when Samuelson is like shooting the puck. Like if you freeze frame it when his stick has the torque on it, there are a bunch of people in the crowd that put their hands up. Like put their either a finger up or like, oh, here it comes. Yeah, there was an anticipation.
Was it? It was maybe one of the cleanest looks they'd had to shoot the entire night.
Oh, he's got room. He's like left slot, face-off circle. He's pretty far down.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah, he's nowhere near the point. Like he's moved down.
Yep.
To shoot that puck.
He's below the
because
top of the circle.
The Bruins have collapsed completely. And again, if you watch that playback, you get some hockey god luck here where one of the Bruins defenseman's stick snaps as he's trying to move it around the boards, and the Bruins forward goes back to hand him his stick, which is why Samuelson is uncovered.
Right. And
because the guy that should be out covering Samuelson has vacated the area to give the defenseman his stick.
And then the player that does not have a stick,
he misses.
That's who Quinn is able to walk right past.
Right. He doesn't. He tries to hit Quinn, but he gets nothing. Gets no part of him.
Incredible. 803-0550 and 1-888-550-2550 if you want to join us, Jeremy and Joe. Owen, you were the only one of the 4 of us in the building last night, right? You're there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So?
Man.
Your first playoff game.
Yeah, first playoff game of my life. I mean, it was something else in there. It was wild. I mean, all the pregame stuff, the videos that they played, the crowd was just at a fever pitch. And then, it got tense in there for a stretch. Like after the middle of the second period, all the way through to whenever Thompson scored that first goal. It was tense, and then Thompson scored, and I immediately it went that crazy in there, and I thought in my head, like, they're gonna win the game.
Yeah.
I even I didn't say it to anybody, but I thought to lean over to Paul and say, like, they're gonna come back and win this game. Like, there's just no way. They've been so much better than them all night that the crowd knew as soon as they scored, all right, it's time to go here, and they answered the bell.
Also, how old are you?
24.
Okay. What age you was on the Jumbotron as part of the Better Days feature? Are you like 7 there? 10,
I was like
12? 8.
9.
9?
I think I was 9 at that point.
Yeah.
If my dad was correct that was the last playoff year, I would have been 9.
What a year for you.
Oh. I mean,
Not 9. I mean this year.
Right. Seriously, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, now, it's crazy to see that picture. You know, they open up the new Better Days with, you know, my old man and a picture of me as a little kid. Like, it's mind-boggling, and now I'm, you know, doing post-game reports on the team. Like, it is crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, personally, very, very cool, to say the least.
803-0550 to join us. We'll get more calls in. Vinny in Sweden. Hey, Vinny.
Yes. Hello, guys. Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
Okay. Yes. I thought I finally would have to do it. I've been thinking about it for so long, so I thought I better come loose some one time, and I thought this day was a good one. I'm just so happy for everyone in Western New York and all that. I can tell you, like I talked to the guy who took my call first, when I was 8 or 9 years old, my relatives that I have in Lake Superior and Minnesota Duluth, they sent me this subscription of the Hockey News, and for a year, and it was only looking up that, and that was the time when, Buffalo and Vancouver was on their way into the NHL, and I had a friend who moved from my place in Sweden to Vancouver, and then we started right to each other, back and forth during the years, and so anyway, that's one story. Then 78, when I was going to the States for the first time, I came to Rochester, and I specifically asked for that because I wanted to be as close to Buffalo as possible, and the family that came up on the screen there. They asked me where I wanted to go. This company that was doing this language trips, and I thought, okay, Rochester, that's where I want to go. So I was there the summer of 78, and I was supposed to. I thought, hopefully there is some people who like hockey, and the whole neighborhood was there. We're out, in the not roller skates, but anyway, we were outside playing hockey all the time, and then we were supposed to go to the old Odd in Rochester, but it was, the weather was so warm, so they couldn't make any ice. But then in the end of my 7 weeks there, we could go in there, so it was great. I had a skate in that old arena, and it was fantastic. Well, anyway, about this game last night, it was fantastic, and could anybody say anything else if you're a Sabres supporter? But it was tense, like Owen said there, it was pretty tough. So I remember when it was about 9 minutes left, I stand up, and everybody was saying that I had with me. They told me that, why are you standing up? Well, give some more energy.
Yeah.
And then they scored and scored and scored. And I was like, it can't be true. But everything but this season is so magical that you can't just. Well, I know it has nothing to do with me, but I just
but it's whatever, Vinny. It's the crowd. It's whatever. It's part of the ride. It's what makes the Stanley Cup playoffs so much fun. Is that it's such a long ride, and not they won the game. All right, see you later, Boston. Like, you got to beat them 3 more times.
Right. They stay in town.
Yeah.
And you'll see them tomorrow. It was a magical night. I mean, all of it. To be in that arena must have been just simply the best. Without having gone in 15 years, and then that's the first taste of it. I mean, imagine if they got shut out. It still would have been great back in the playoffs and the beginning of the game, but I was thinking, really, first game back and they're going to get shut out here by the Bruins. And then to have the game go the way it did in the final 8 minutes What was it? 6 minutes 45 seconds. They scored
6:46 for the 4 goals. Yeah.
They scored the 4 goals.
Wild.
It went from, all right, that was disappointing, but glad we're back, to, okay, that's one of the best games I've ever been to in my life.
Yeah.
in like a 20-minute period.
When we get back, we got Paul at the top of the hour. We'll talk with him. Sal coming up at 9. The Bills are starting organized team activities today, so that's why a lot of the Bills players are in town. Many were at the game last night. So we'll hear from Brandon Beane, Joe Brady, and Josh Allen today. They'll all meet with the media around 1 o'clock. So start of off-season stuff for the Bills. And one quick little Bills note when we get back on a potential trade. There have been some big trades in the NFL. Another one could be coming. Adam Schefter has some of the latest on that. We'll mix that in along with your calls and Paul Hamilton, top of the hour here on WGR. The Sabres are the better team. They can skate circles around that team. And did they get all 3 goals from the forecheck? Like, they got to work.
Yeah.
Again, like, part of why it ends up, for me, feeling like the perfect rebirth into the playoffs is they're better than that team. And they should beat that team. Boston's got some pretty high-level talent. Geeky and Pasternak were both dangerous. I'm sure at some point in the next, 5 minutes, we'll complain about the power play, which Lindy Ruff is not concerned. Which, okay. Glad he's the one. But whatever. We got time to just kind of remember that game. What a start to the playoffs for the Sabres and for Buffalo Sabres fans.
They are the better team. They could skate circles around them. They're going to have the puck the whole series. They're going to have the puck the whole series. It was awesome. I think it's right to be emotional after that game. It could not have been a better return to playoff hockey.
Went from thinking, I don't know if they're going to score in the series on Swayman here, to 3 goals in 4 minutes, and 4 goals in 6:46 to come from behind to win. So, just crazy.
Man, I felt all along, we're watching the game yesterday at Rec Room, my brother's standing there, and he's like, this goalie's, I'm like, they are gonna win this series. They have the puck the whole game, and we'll get to there's numbers on that and whatnot, but they had the puck the whole game. They didn't have elite chances the whole game, but they just had it. And how long can you go without beating the goalie playing like that? I think eventually you're gonna do it, and you know what? Like, sometimes your best player has got to be your best player. How often does that get said in sports? In every sport, all the time.
Paul says it a lot, especially about the Sabres. Paul says about the Sabres a lot.
Yeah, it's a mindset in sports. Like, your best player sometimes has just got to grab the game and be your best player. And, like, the Samuelson goal will be remembered for the pop and the feeling, and that's a great goal, too. Quinn with what an effort. But Thompson won that game for them.
It's a Tage game, yeah.
Tage won that game for them.
Yep. Both goals are incredible. The first goal is unbelievable.
Oh, his hands in that
unbelievable
phone booth are nuts.
It almost felt like it was going to take something superhuman. We were watching the game, like you said, at Rec Room with a big, huge watch party, which we had a great time. And I thought, they need a bounce. They're going to need some bounce off a skate.
A dirty goal?
Something, yes. Anything to just kind of get through and show that Swayman is human, that he can bleed. And Tage just really with an unbelievable superhuman kind of effort and hands there to get through once. And as soon as that happens, it's like, all right. They're on the board, whatever. My wife texted me during the third period, right after the Bruins went up 2-0, and she said, why do they look so nervous? Why is everyone so nervous? And I said, well, I think the goal that made it 2-0 really kind of like, oof. All of a sudden, we got to get 3 past this guy in order to win this game, and 2 in the next 19 minutes. So they found a way. They figured it out. And like you said, like the perfect a fitting start to the series. Driving in this morning, I'm ready to call it the perfect game in a very different way than the Bills one. Right. The Bills one is they were actually perfect. They couldn't have done anything better. And this one was the right way to start a series, to welcome themselves back, to climb out of a deficit, 2 goals at home. Everything about it was just like storybook. And the entire NHL is the entire NHL not watching the highlights too and thinking like, holy cow, those people are insane.
Somebody said, have you ever been in one like that in the playoffs? And I said, well, with a couple thousand games, I think so, but I don't know. You could feel the building shaking again. Even upstairs, I guess they said the same thing. The atmosphere was unbelievable, and it was great to give our fans, that third period.
Sabres head coach Lindy Ruff. They're up 1 game to none. You had stats on Lindy in game 1s with the Sabres.
Yes.
Go ahead and update that.
He was going into the day 14-4 with the Sabres in game 1s all time. So now he would be 15-4.
15-4 in games 1. Game
ones. Yeah, game ones.
Tease something going to the break real quickly. It is, of course, NFL Draft Week, Thursday. The Bills are on the clock, 26th overall. We'll have a draft party coming up at Bright Smith Brewing on Niagara Street. You can join us for that. Go to brightsmithbrewing.com for tickets. That's B-R-I-T-E Smith, Bright Smith Brewing. And Joe and I will be there for a Game 3 watch party and the draft. So a couple things. Adam Schefter tweets this morning that everybody pretty much expects A.J. Brown's going to the Patriots after June 1. A post-June 1 trade.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to happen. Everybody still expects that. And then he lists other trade candidates, and probably not a surprise here, but he mentions Keon Coleman as a trade candidate.
Yep.
And after the Dexter Lawrence trade to the Bengals for the 10th overall pick, which, by the way, I like for Cincinnati a lot. I think it's a great trade for them.
Mm-hmm.
I know that everyone loves your hot prospects. It's all about draft picks. They should have traded down for 5 picks instead, because the way to win the draft is to just have picks. Instead, they get a top 15 defensive player in the league.
And they had tons of money.
Tons of money. They have $170 million more than the Bills in 2 years. And that's not because the Bills are irresponsible, because the Bengals don't spend.
No, they're cheap. Yeah.
So the Bengals actually don't need cheap labor. They probably could have paid somebody else. But whatever. I think it's a good move for the Bengals. Trades aplenty in this league right now. And talk of the Chiefs trying to move up to the top 3 for the edge rusher.
Yeah.
David Bailey, I think, is who they might be aiming for at number 3. Anyway, the draft is Thursday. Come on out for the draft party. brightsmithbrewing.com for tickets. Join us. We'll watch Game 3. We'll see who the Bills pick. It'll be a heck of a time. We had a great time last night. Hope you had a great time wherever you were. Arena, plaza, whatever. Brightsmith on Thursday. Be there with us. Jeremy and Joe, Paul Hamilton on the other side. Your calls as well here on WGR.
I just think if you are Boston, the series is not over. But
oh God, no.
I am not feeling great about my chances, because I think in that game, one way you might have thought you could steal one is we're going to take advantage of their nerves, and they haven't done this before, and we're going to hit them in the mouth right away, and we're going to hang on to a lead, and they're not going to be able to respond. And our goalie's going to steal a couple of games from us. Like that's how I'm going to win the series if I'm Boston. And what you got out of that game was evidence of, man, we got to play this team the next however many games. They are faster than us. They are more talented and skilled than us. They are bigger than us. They are deeper than us. What on earth am I going to do to them in this series if they don't have the nerves and the playoff newness stuff, if they don't have that, how am I going to win this series? I'm going to need my goalie.
Yeah.
It's like the only way I'm going to really do it. And I don't think that's going to be enough. Maybe that guy could steal you 1 or 2 games. I've no doubt about that. But is he going to steal 4 games for them?
Got to steal 4 out of 6.
Or am I going to get Boston for an entire game looking like the better team than the Sabres are? I can't imagine what that looks like. They didn't. Who were their guys creating chances last night? You mentioned like they have Pasternak, they have Geeky. Hagen's had a shot late in the third period.
Yep.
But that was the only time I really noticed him the whole game. I mean, I didn't notice any of that middle stat. Well, Zaka maybe had a couple chances, but middle stat I didn't really notice. Husnadinov didn't really notice. Arvidsson, not really. Like any of their guys behind their top guns just were non-existent in this game.
Well, they didn't have a single player in the positive at 5-on-5 on shot attempts. Not one.
Not one
one
player.
line, not one player. Zadorov was even 50-50 if you want to do like Corsi or whatever. But just shot share, not one line, not one player for Boston ended up on the positive end of that.
Yeah, in fact, their top pair on defense were really the ones that got run over. McAvoy and Asperat. That's been their top pair for a little bit now. When McAvoy was on the ice, the Sabres outshot him 8-2. When Asperat was on the ice, it was 10-2.
The Samuelson goal, go back and watch like you have 1,000 times. Watch how casually he shoots it. That's my favorite part of it now. It's like he's just ripping it into the net before skating off because warm-ups are over.
Yeah.
He's going to casually like throws it there, turns, and like finds its way through. Not a big lean into it, not a big stick whip, just like into the net for what he then called the coolest moment of his life.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't really
it's just kind of an afterthought.
There's no down on one knee. There's no it's just I mean, he's so big that like he'll get that much torque on his stick even without really going 100% on it.
Fitting for him to get it when talking about like he had that piece at the Sabres posted a letter to the fans about how much it means to all the players in the playoffs and being back, and you know his arc is the Sabres arc, is it not? Kind of left for dead last year. Nothing's doing anything. It's not going anywhere. It's a mess again.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. He's really good.
Yeah.
End of arc.
Quinn walks it out to the slot. Shot scores! Matthias Samuelson! Are you kidding me?
1-0. The Sabres rally late to shut down the Bruins in the first game of the playoff series in a third-period comeback, 4-3. It's their first playoff win in 14 seasons, and after Buffalo was absent scoring-wise for most of the game, Tage Thompson scored 2, then Matthias Samuelson scored another, and Alex Tuch capped it off with an empty netter. Here's head coach Lindy Ruff postgame.
Somebody said, have you ever been in one like that in the playoffs? And I said, well, with a couple thousand games, I think so, but I don't know. You could feel the building shaking again. Even upstairs, I guess they said the same thing. The atmosphere was unbelievable, and it was great to give our fans, that third period.
Shaking it was. They have a day off as they gear up for Game 2 coming up on Tuesday. At KeyBank Center, puck drop is set for 7:30 right here on WGR. Some other results from the weekend. Montreal beat Tampa Bay 4-3 in overtime. The Flyers beat the Penguins 3-2, and the Hurricanes shut out the Senators 2-0. OTAs begin today for the Bills and around the NFL. The draft only a few days away. From ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Eagles remain open to trading A.J. Brown, and the Patriots remain highly interested in acquiring the star receiver. Conversations are expected to resume shortly on or before June 1st, likely culminating in a deal. Trade to New England now considered likely. Schefter also reports Dexter Lawrence signing a one-year, $28 million contract extension with the Bengals. New Orleans football's Nick Underhill believes Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson will probably be drafted in the top 10 picks. And Georgia wide receiver Zachariah Branch was arrested for misdemeanor obstruction in Athens, Georgia on Saturday. Still a developing story there. In baseball, the Blue Jays beat Arizona 10-4. The Yankees beat the Royals 7-0. The Mets lost 2-1 to the Cubs. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fans, WGR.
It's Paul Hamilton.
Guys, how are you?
He keeps the people coming back for more.
My Uber dropped me at the wrong terminal, so I had to wait for a bus.
On WGR.
Paul Hamilton was there covering the game for us, our Sabres beat reporter. Sabres win. A rally, 2 goals from Tage Thompson, 1 from Matthias Samuelson, an empty netter from Alex Tuch, which ends up being the game winner. And they have a 1-0 series lead. An unforgettable night at KeyBank Center. And we've got Paul with us to recap it all and look forward in the series. Paul, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Paul. I was going to start with a trivia question for you. That you'd be good at this one, though. You've got this one.
Sure?
I'm positive. I'm positive. The Sabres sent out, like a end-of-game wrap-up, and it was the second time in franchise history the Sabres have come from down multiple goals in the third to win a playoff game. Do you know the other?
Yeah, it's against Boston.
That's right.
Brad May.
Mayday.
So
They were down by multiple goals?
Yes. Not exactly like that. The headline in that game, I mean, Mayday, that moment is the one that lives as the most, but that's the other time they did it. It was against Boston as well. You win, Paul. Congratulations.
What do I win?
The right to continue and tell us all about your experience.
You want the right to you want another trivia question? You can get that one. Do you know who set the record last night for hits in a playoff game by a Sabre?
I would imagine it's Malenstein, but I'm guessing.
Tuch.
10
hits last night's the most in a playoff game by a Sabre ever. Samuelson had 9, by the way, so he's now second. And I guess we could start there. We could start a million different places, but the Bruins coach last week said his team was more physical and bigger, and that did not look like that was the case yesterday.
No, the Sabres initiated the contact, but they did it in a smart way. Very often, sometimes when you go to make the hit, you take yourself out of position. Rasmus Ristolainen was like the number one person. He would come across the ice, take himself way out of position, make a huge hit, and then it's a 3-on-1 the other way because he came across the ice to do it and it was out of position. The Sabres weren't doing that. They were tough in the hitting department. It was helping them on the forecheck, and it was like step up and hit somebody or get in on the forecheck fast and hit somebody. And I thought they were initiating the physical play of that game, and I think in the end it's one of the things that helped them win. I think when it finally got to Boston, always having Tuck or always having Malenstein or always having Krebs or whoever it might be, Samuelson, always having them there and the physical toll that it takes. I think by the end of the game, that's one of the things that helped the Sabres.
Paul Hamilton's appearance brought to you by Relax Honda. Relax, we got this. Paul, the type of win for the Sabres, you laid it out a little bit there. The fact that they were kind of able to dig through, they were not playing poorly, but Boston's structure and Boston's game plan to win that game 1-0 or 2-0. Do you find it impressive in how the Sabres kept going through it? And also, I mean, it's kind of in line with how this team has played a lot this season. We kind of know that's in there for them, and they're able to do it in the biggest game of the year to this point.
This is just another example of their maturity. 2 years ago, that game's a 6-0 loss. But, it was something Tage Thompson really impressed upon when he was talking before the game, and some of the other guys too. They understand the way Boston plays. Boston wants to clog it up. Boston wants to be that you think they've got 6 guys on the ice because they're always there. And it was that way for a while. But Thompson said, he goes, we can't get frustrated with that. He goes, that's the worst thing that can happen because if we get frustrated, then we'll start making bad plays and turning the puck over and that type of thing. And that's exactly what they did. They never got frustrated with what the Bruins were doing. It was just like, okay, it didn't work, we'll try it again. Okay, it didn't work, we'll try it again. And they just stuck with what they felt was going to be the best way to try to get back into the hockey game. Now, they needed some big saves along the way, too. I mean, Boston had only 4 shots in the second period. 3 of them came on Pasternak's 2 breakaways. Mm-hmm. The 1 breakaway had the first shot and the rebound. Those are huge saves. If Pasternak scores there, we're having a totally different conversation right now. He basically probably puts this thing away. But Luukkonen comes up big on those two saves, and the Sabres just kept at it. And look, I mean, you can look at the goals they scored, the types of goals they scored. I mean, it was, win a couple of battles behind the net. Krebs won the last battle, and Thompson just, gets the puck. It's a broken play, brings it out, and it's a play Swayman's got to have, and he had everything else. I mean, he had been one of the biggest reasons why the Sabres weren't in the game at that point as far as scoring. Next Tage Thompson goal. What happens? They get in there. The Boston Bruins, I think, are a little bit slow. The Sabres get in there fast. Thompson steals the puck, and as he's stealing the puck, he takes the shot. That's another one where I would say Swayman would say, I need to stop that. But still, he didn't. And there you go. How many times have you heard me say your best players have to be your best players? Mm-hmm. Well, Tage Thompson didn't get frustrated with what was going on. He really wasn't a part of that game as far as even being all that dangerous because of what the Bruins were doing, but he stuck with it. Look how dangerous he was when it counted. And, that is the biggest thing I thought is they just stayed with it, and I think they wore the Bruins down.
There is I think a leadership part too on the ice, Paul, of what Thompson does on that second goal that he scores because Krebs is open in the slot. Like in this team, how many times do they look for that perfect pass? And like sometimes, especially when it's him and it's your best goal scorer, you just want the guy to I'm just taking the shot. I've got it. I'm going to take the shot, and he scores on it. Because you pass that to Krebs there, I mean, it could be rolling or a guy could come in from behind, and sometimes you just need that direct approach.
You're right, and especially you always want Thompson shooting. Thompson shooting is not a bad play, ever.
Right, ever.
But, let's go to the next goal, and it illustrates now they did it differently. Quinn, he really didn't have a shot, but he's got his head up, and he sees Samuelson, who reads the play very well, jumps into the circle slot area, and Quinn lays a perfect pass for him to be able to score. We should have had a game-winning goal, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
That was a play where the pass was warranted. Quinn deferred to Samuelson, who had a much better opportunity, and put the puck right where it needed to be.
And how about Zucker on that play? Like, perfect screen, leapt out of the way. He's always in front of the net, so it's not a surprise. But they I think, you talk about the retrievals, Paul, that they made. Like, there is a lot of talk. Playoff hockey's a little different. You can't always carry it in, dump and chase. And if they can win battles like that behind the net, and they've got to be more of a dump and chase team than they were in the regular season, like, they kind of proved that they can do it.
Yeah, they weren't going to win if the Bruins, they were, denying entries and clogging up the neutral zone and trying to take the Sabres' speed away, and it was successful for a while. But it gets back to what we've witnessed all year long. How do you want to play it? Do you want to play it tight? We can play it tight. You want to play 8-7? We can run and gun. We love to run and gun with you. Want to play tough? Let's do it. Whatever is needed for that game, and I'll say the same word I said earlier again, maturity. They're up for it, and they're pretty good at all of it. Depending on what type of game you want to play, and they just proved it again against the Bruins last night.
Paul Hamilton joining us. His appearance brought to you by Raylax Honda. Raylax, we got this. Paul, what did you think of UPL?
Yeah, he was nervous to start, and I think you could tell that. But I look at the 3 goals. I'm not really concerned about any of the 3 goals. I mean, the first one, Dahlin blocks Pasternak's shot. Well, it goes right to Geekie in the slot. Well, the wrong guy to get the puck there. And what are you going to do? Tell Dahlin not to block the shot? I mean, so I don't blame him or anybody else on that goal. It's a little bit of rotten luck where that rebound wound up off it hitting Dahlin. And the next one's off the post. Well, there you go. Now, the Bruins have to be there to pounce on these pucks. I get that, but, again, I'm not looking in about that at all. And the Pasternak goal, the power play goal, he didn't see. I mean, that was a 6-on-4. There was about 6 guys in front of him. I don't even know if he knew Pasternak shot the puck. So I look at those 3 goals, and I would not be upset with him on any of those 3 goals. And again, I because they were just such big saves. Pasternak on breakaways, and he kills the Sabres. And he had 3 points. He now has 9 points in 5 games against the Sabres this year. But when Luukkonen had to come up big, he stopped 2 different breakaways for 3 shots. And that, didn't let the Bruins get away from them.
Yeah, 3 points could have been 5 very easily,
Yep.
and that would have killed them. There were a lot of things to break down from this game, Paul. Connor Ryan, who covers the Bruins for the Globe, he tweeted about the Bruins defensemen wilting under the pressure of the Sabres forecheck. I think it was Bill Lindsay, NHL Network, last night was going off about how the Bruins, they cannot win this series if their defensemen crack under pressure like that. And I don't know how much we talked about that as an advantage going into the series, but man, it just looked like the Bruins defensemen, even McAvoy, their pair kind of got outshot bad. Their blue line just could not handle the Sabres' speed and size.
They could to start with, but again, the Sabres stuck with it. Exactly, you're hitting just exactly what happened and what we talked about. The Sabres stuck with it, and they know they can wear them down. And I think I had heard. I actually hadn't looked it up yet. Swayman faces more high danger chances than most goaltenders do.
Yes.
Well, that is in correlation with what you're saying right now. They also are not a very good road team, which again, that's probably one of the reasons why. They're very good at home, but I think they have the second best record at home. But on the road, they're not a very good road team, and I think it speaks to what you were saying that. Yeah, some of them have some size to them and everything, but if you just keep on them and keep hitting them, I mean, Zadorov seemed to wear down. Zadorov, you hear me say he's one of the stupidest players in the NHL, and he is, but he is a good defenseman. He plays, he is, for the most part, a good defenseman, but I thought he wore down too and was on the ice for some of that.
Looking at how Lindy used some of the guys last night, Paul, it was the fewest minutes Power had played since December. I don't know what you thought of his game overall and kind of how Lindy balanced everything out. I mean, everything else looks pretty normal. The fourth line didn't play a ton. I guess the Power part would be the most unique thing. Did you like his game or not like his game? Because, again, under 18 minutes is not normal for him.
Yeah, I was sitting with the goalie, and he made a couple of plays, and we both said almost at the same time, wow, that's a good play by Power there. Not only did he snuff out the rush, but he was physical with the Bruin player, taking them into the wall and just erasing the play. So I didn't have a huge problem with his game. I'm trying to think who Pasternak got behind. I believe Samuelson. It was Samuelson once. I don't know.
I think Dahlin was behind him on the other, but I don't know if it was his fault. But I think it was Dahlin was the closest.
Right. So I didn't think he had a poor game. I think it was more of Stanley and Timmins, were I think more than maybe you see out of the third pair. And again, with everything I had to do last night, and some of the records you were talking about when we started, I hadn't even seen yet because I'm down in the locker room and people are. I had a fan who saw me walk by and was asking me about. I go, guys, I haven't even been on Twitter yet. I've been getting interviews and so all that kind of stuff I hadn't seen yet. It's just the way they do their business now.
Mm-hmm. The new podium setup, by the way, right down there.
Oh, that's the biggest. We went from the smallest, most interoperative media room to the biggest, most luxurious media room. It's great.
Yeah.
If anybody has ever been down to the NCAA tournament, especially for media people that covered it, it's in their meal room there, and it's huge, and it works great. The Sabres did a real good job. Sabres and their staff did an excellent job of getting that room ready to be a media room.
803-0550. Paul, is Lindy Ruff the only person in America not concerned about the Sabres power play?
The first power play I liked a lot. I thought they moved the puck. I thought they had some great opportunities. And then I didn't like it after that. I don't think you did either. They had trouble even getting it into the zone. And one of the things I've talked about in this series, and again they got away with it, is they got to make the Bruins pay for the penalties they take. They didn't do that, but they still were able to come back and win the hockey game. I don't know if that's a recipe for success all the way through the playoffs. The Bruins did what we thought they would do. They took some goofy penalties, and Buffalo did not make them pay. And Boston is a pretty good penalty-killing team, but I think had the Sabres had 4 power plays like they did on the first one, I think they would have had a really good chance of breaking through, but they couldn't even get into the zone by the last one. I mean, it was just, they were trying to get different guys to bring the puck up. First it was Quinn, then it was Thompson. They couldn't get into the zone. They make bad plays. They were trying to force plays. I talked about frustration. Maybe some frustration crept in on the power play. Now that I think about it.
It crept in for some of us. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Because they were forcing plays that the Bruins would just pick off and send down the ice.
Yeah, they are now 0 for 26 this month, and they've actually given up 2 shorthanded goals. So they're negative since the start of April. I know Lindy said he wasn't going to, rip it up and start over. Is there any tweaks? Like, they haven't had Doan on that top unit in a while. I guess you could do that, but I don't know. They've kind of tried everything at this point, haven't they?
Well, if they're going to rip it up and start over, Dunn will be centering Malenstein and whatever. I mean, what are you going to do? You got who you got.
They've tried right. That's like almost every combo. It feels like they've thrown out.
That's just a ridiculous question. Rip it up and start with what?
Yeah.
I mean, they've got their offensive people on the power play. What worked for them a little bit was Thompson rotating around the zone. That worked for a bit. That doesn't seem to be working anymore.
You had an idea in, I think it was like November, Paul, put Samuelson on the power play. I might be ready to see that at this point. Just, try it. Try anything. That might not be a serious idea, but.
Well, yeah. I mean. Yeah.
He can shoot.
Especially for the second power play. I mean, they had power. That wasn't working. They finally after years of doing it, took him off the power play. He does not have that many power play points in his career, and he's played the power play in almost every year he's been in the league. Byram seems to struggle on it, so maybe it's not the worst idea in the world. I mean, especially you see Samuelson. One of the reasons he has the goals he has is he's starting to recognize when the plays are there where he can jump in, and has that little offensive flair to him. So it might not be as ridiculous as idea as you think it is.
Injury-wise, Paul, did it sound like Oslin was close, but they just liked the fourth line combo they had and didn't want to toy with anything else?
Plus, he only been out with the team once. He had been skating on his own, but I think they wanted to give him a little more time. And quite honestly, who do you put him in the lineup for right now? I mean, look at Zucker, how long he had to wait.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he wasn't a happy camper either, but that was in the middle of the 10-game winning streak. It's like, well, sorry, Jason, we really like you on our team, and you're a great player for us, but why would we mess with this right now? And I think that might be the same thing with Oslin.
Injury report brought to you by Hamburg Overhead Door. Is your garage door injured? Call the experts at Hamburg Overhead Door to get your door healthy again. Finally, Paul, do a little eye on the blue and gold here. Looking forward in the series, game one is over and done. What do you think the Sabres need to do better in game two, and what do you think Boston will try to do maybe different in game two?
I think we just discussed it. They need to do the power play better. I mean, to help them, get some goals and get some advantages into the game earlier, because the Bruins are the Bruins. They're going to try to play the same exact game they played, but finish it. And so the Sabres, again, they might have to stick with it. They might have to be, because it did look like there was an extra Bruin on the ice for a while. It's like, well, there's a Bruin there, and, well, you made a play, and there's a Bruin over there. How many they got out here? Because they were just playing their positions perfectly and, being able to kill plays. But so the Sabres might have to, be patient again against a team that does not play very well on the road and just use the same type of formula that if we just stay with our game, we will wear them down.
And finally, Paul, how about just the moment, the night, having playoff hockey back at KeyBank Center?
Yeah, I could sit here and say I've never seen anything like that. I think maybe I have. The Drury Finneganov game where Briere talked about how the dressing room was actually moving, and they started to get a little worried that maybe people are coming through the ceiling. That's how much the building shook, and nobody left. The fans just stayed there and just were going crazy. So other than that, that might be the two things that the Mayday goal, of course, maybe three things that have maybe matched what I witnessed last night. That place, and I did DVR the game, and it translated very well onto ESPN. ESPN just got out of the way. Here, watch. Watch and listen. And I like that. That, for the beginning, even watching the national anthem with Cammy Clooney does extremely well. She got the chance to be on national TV again since she was on The Voice and did an excellent job. And everybody was just so pumped up, but you could feel it through the TV. I mean, they had their shirts off over at Canal Side by the end, and it was not warm outside. Just to see them going absolutely crazy over there, it just, again, I think maybe I've seen a couple of things that matched it, but not very many.
Yeah. Well, Paul, Joe and I will be there for game two, and we will do our best to match it for game two. We'll be ready. The crowd that's going to be there tomorrow night will be tasked with upping it even more so. Thanks, Paul.
Take care, guys.
Paul's appearance brought to you by Raylax Honda. Raylax, we got this. Sabres and Bruins, game two is tomorrow.
Did you see what they have in the locker room for the countdown to winning the cup?
I did not.
There's a big plate, I believe you would call it, with a spot for a puck all around the outside of it, and there's a Stanley Cup and swords behind it in the middle. And
All right.
Lindy putting the puck in the hole. Saw that last night.
Oh, wow.
So we've got our own little
I like it.
locker room countdown.
You know what it kind of looks like? And I say this, I'm not trashing it. Looks like something that would be on The Price is Right. Like you get a certain number of pucks, you put it in.
Okay.
Or maybe like some sort of seal that opens when you get all the Infinity Stones.
Yes.
Like something like that.
Yeah, you're right. Like it looks like it would spin and open into something else if they were to put all the pucks
in. The cup
in.
comes out of it once you get the 16th puck in there.
Right.
15 to go. 803-0550, our number, 1-888-550-2550. We'll talk with Sal coming up at 9. The Bills have OTAs today. We're going to hear from the Bills brass, Joe Brady, Brandon Beane, and Josh Allen. So stay tuned for that. It's coming up later today. It's draft week. I mean, the draft is a couple days away. That'll be Thursday night. You can join us for our draft party and watch party for Game 3 because they're both happening on Thursday night. What better way to do it than to do it with us at Brightsmith Brewing. So go to brightsmithbrewing.com. The Niagara Street location will be there. Huge buffet, great foods, big screens, good times. And, the stress of Game 3. 4 minutes into that game last night, the first 4 minutes, I thought, I don't know if I'm going to make it.
It was, yeah.
Just like, this is already too intense.
Every single shot the Bruins were taking, it was like from a bad angle. I'm like, oh! I'm like, well, I really shouldn't be reacting. There was a shot from, like, the goal line.
Yeah, terror.
Yeah.
Just complete terror.
Actually, you know why I did? I think that actually might have been the play where Luukkonen didn't know where it was and it got poked free.
Yeah.
And he was, like, on the goal line. I'm like, don't be too far back. It was fine.
Jeremy and Joe, give us a ring. Open phone lines. If you were waiting to get through earlier, we are wide open to talk with you about, your experience last night, what you thought of it all. The Sabres and Bruins back to it tomorrow at KeyBank Center, and that game, of course, here on WGR.
You talk about the retrievals, Paul, that they made. Like, there is a lot of talk. Playoff hockey's a little different. You can't always carry it in, dump and chase. And if they can win battles like that behind the net, and they've got to be more of a dump and chase team than they were in the regular season, like, they kind of proved that they can do it.
Yeah, they weren't going to win if the Bruins, they were, denying entries and clogging up the neutral zone and trying to take the Sabres' speed away. And it was successful for a while, but it gets back to what we've witnessed all year long. How do you want to play it? Do you want to play it tight? We can play it tight. You want to play 8-7? We were running gun. We love to run and gun with you. Want to play tough? Let's do it. Whatever is needed for that game, and I'll say the same word I said earlier again, maturity. They're up for it, and they're pretty good at all of it. Depending on what type of game you want to play. And they just proved it again against the Bruins last night.
It was awesome. I think it's right to be emotional after that game. It could not have been a better return to playoff hockey.
Went from thinking, I don't know if they're going to score in the series on Swayman here, to 3 goals in 4 minutes. And 4 goals in 6:46 to come from behind to win. So, just crazy.
Man, I felt all along, we were watching the game yesterday at Rec Room, my brother's standing there, and he's like, this goalie's, I'm like, they are gonna win this series. They have the puck the whole game. And we'll get to, there's numbers on that and whatnot, but they had the puck the whole game. They didn't have elite chances the whole game, but they just had it. And how long can you go without beating the goalie playing like that? I think eventually you're going to do it. And you know what? Like, sometimes your best player has got to be your best player. How often does that get said in sports? In every sport, all the time.
Paul says it a lot, especially about the Sabres. Paul says about the Sabres a lot.
Yeah, it's a mindset in sports. Like, your best player sometimes has just got to grab the game and be your best player. And, like, the Samuelson goal will be remembered for the pop and the feeling, and that's a great goal, too. Quinn with what an effort. But Thompson won that game for them.
It's a Tage game, yeah.
Tage won that game for them.
Yep. Both goals are incredible. The first goal is unbelievable.
Oh, his hands in that
unbelievable
phone booth are nuts.
It almost felt like it was going to take something superhuman. We were watching the game, like you said, at Rec Room with a big, huge watch party, which we had a great time. And I thought, they need a bounce. They're going to need some bounce off a skate.
A dirty goal?
Something, yes. Anything to just kind of get through and show that Swayman is human, that he can bleed. And Tage just really with an unbelievable superhuman kind of effort and hands there to get through once. And as soon as that happens, it's like, all right. They're on the board, whatever. My wife texted me during the third period, right after the Bruins went up 2-0, and she said, why do they look so nervous? Why is everyone so nervous? And I said, well, I think the goal that made it 2-0 really kind of like, oof. all of a sudden, we got to get 3 past this guy in order to win this game, and 2 in the next 19 minutes. So they found a way. They figured it out. And like you said, like the perfect a fitting start to the series. Driving in this morning, I'm ready to call it the perfect game in a very different way than the Bills one.
Right.
The Bills one is they were actually perfect. They couldn't have done anything better. And this one was the right way to start a series, to welcome themselves back, to climb out of a deficit, 2 goals at home. Everything about it was just like storybook. And the entire NHL is the entire NHL not watching the highlights too and thinking like, holy cow, those people are insane.
Quinn walks it out to the slot. Shot scores! Matthias Samuelson! Are you kidding me?
1-0. The Sabres rally late to shut down the Bruins in the first game of the playoff series in a third period comeback 4-3. It's their first playoff win in 14 seasons after Buffalo was absent for most of the game. Scoring-wise, Tage Thompson scored the 2 goals to get the rally started. Here's Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen on Tage Thompson postgame.
I feel like Tage has grown as a leader so much this year, and he's been really, really big part of our success on the ice, off the ice, takes care of everybody, and those big moments, he's shown it, in many levels that he's kind of built for that, and he showed his best tonight.
They have a day off as they gear up for Game 2 coming up on Tuesday. KeyBank Center with puck drop set for 7 o'clock right here, 7:30, on WGR. Other results from the weekend, Montreal beat Tampa Bay 4-3 in overtime. The Flyers beat the Penguins 3-2, and the Hurricanes shut out the Senators 2-0. Voluntary minicamp begins today for the Bills and around the NFL. The draft is only a few days away. From ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Eagles remain open to trading A.J. Brown. The Patriots remain highly interested in acquiring Brown, and conversations are expected to resume shortly on or before June 1st, likely culminating in a deal. Schefter also reports Dexter Lawrence signing a 1-year, $28 million contract extension with the Bengals. And New Orleans football, Nick Underhill believes Jordan Tyson will probably be drafted in the top 10 picks, and Georgia wide receiver Zachariah Branch was arrested for misdemeanor obstruction in Athens, Georgia on Saturday. Still a developing story there. In baseball, the Blue Jays beat Arizona 10-4. The Yankees beat the Royals 7-0, and the Mets lost 2-1 to the Cubs. Join Schulp and Bulldog live this Thursday from 3 to 7 at Hamburg Tap Room for pregame coverage of the Game 3 and more, presented by Neutral Vodka Seltzer. Keep it tasty this playoff season. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet, with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fans, WGR.
And now the Bruins try to skate it out. What a play there by Benson. Stick came up, no call. Referee in the corner with no call. Meanwhile, Pasternak again. Saved by Luukkonen for the second time in the game. On a breakaway, Luukkonen has the answer on 88.
One of the first moments of the game for the moments in your life go forth to Firth Jewelers. Our first moments of the game, Dan Dunleavy on the call. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I was not listening at the time, but I saw Tim Graham tweeting that on the ESPN intermission report or before the game, they all played a game trying to say his name.
Okay.
It's
How'd
not
they do?
that hard to say. You practice
No.
it like 3 times and you got it.
Yeah,
This
it's
guy
not,
is-
once you get it right once, it's not one you come back to having trouble with.
Right. Like, hey, guys,
Like-
I know you're on the broadcast and having a good time here, but this team won the Atlantic Division, and he's the starting goaltender in a playoff game. Like, you just say his name.
Yeah, right.
Or you can just say UPL.
I don't think he's got the hardest name to pronounce on the team.
No.
That probably would go to someone else.
I don't know.
We kind of have an Oslin thing that's been going on for
You
a
know
while.
what?
Even though
whatever
the
he
problem
does-
there is his first letter of his name is an O on his jersey, even though in his language it's not the letter O.
Right.
Like it has a different sound.
I think what he should do just for the
He's like
brand
Swedish.
is to change it in 2 years. Whatever it is now, go from Talander to Talinder. We need that. It's good for the vibes to have a player change their name after 2 years. Like actually,
Sekera to Sekera.
Sekera.
Although he didn't even do that until he left.
Lidman to Ludman.
Yeah, right.
Kotalik, I feel like wasn't initially. I don't know.
He was Kotalik for a minute.
It's always good when somebody changes.
And I knew
once.
that because they never changed it in the video game. For the rest of his career, he was Kotalik. They never bothered to change it.
And Travis Etienne, right? Travis Etienne.
That one. See, some of these we don't actually hold to, though. Like, we know that they changed, and we stick with it. It's still Andre Sekera to me, but part of that is because he changed it after.
He left.
He didn't change it. He corrected everybody after he left. Like, Travis Kelce said 5 years ago, his last name is pronounced Kels.
Right.
And just we all decided we don't care.
Well, his brother.
Tyrod Taylor said 10 years ago his name was Tyrod Taylor. Nobody cares.
Didn't Jason
He's still called
Kelce?
Tyrod.
Didn't Jason Kelce dispute that it's Kels? He's like,
He
no,
did?
it's yeah. I think they fought about it. Like, no, it's not.
Really? I didn't know that. I remember Travis Kelce saying it was Kels. I didn't know that they fought about it.
803-0550 is our phone number. Jeremy and Joe.
The Canal side, do we think it would have been a better day to stand outside of Canal side last night, or if the game had been on Saturday afternoon like we thought it was going to be?
Saturday afternoon was windy.
And then there
rainy,
was eventually
hail,
a downpour with hail.
Yeah, well, that would have been tough.
And last night was cold and probably muddy.
Grapple.
And it was snow. Was it snow?
Grapple.
Was it grapple?
It was grapple.
Okay.
There was grapple.
Grapple's better than hail?
It's like small hail. Grapple.
Is it better than hail for standing out in probably?
I mean, it doesn't hurt. Hail
Sure. I mean, hail's got to be pretty big to really hurt, though, doesn't it?
To be pelted.
Yeah. Little hail is fine. You could deal with that.
803-0550 to join us in 1-888-552-550. Playoff fever has taken over. What do you think the television number is going to be for this game? Like the rating?
98.
Do they go above?
What's the record? One above the record.
It's got to go above 100. So many. Every person and even pets learned how to turn a television on for this game.
Right. Every household actually had 2 TVs on going at the same time with the game on. Just in case you had to walk into the other room to make sure that it was on there as well so you didn't miss anything.
I did at our watch party. I did a couple of emotional laps. Like after a whistle, I walked outside, got air, came back in. Like, you know, there was a lot of pacing.
Okay.
They offered us seats. So I'm like, I'm definitely gonna stand this entire game.
I do that when I have Super Bowl parties, by the way.
Pace?
Like no, like the multiple TV thing. I'll have, like everyone will be in the bar area downstairs, but I will put the Super Bowl on the TV upstairs in case people need to walk up, like to go to the bathroom, whatever. You walk by, the game's on there too. You don't miss anything. So that would count double, wouldn't it?
Sure, why not? 803-0550. Ron and Alden. Hey, Ron. Good morning.
Good morning, Joe DeBoff and Jeremy White. Is that your names now? Change your names up. So I was at the game last night, and it was incredible, man. It was like euphoric. We got there around 1 o'clock, hung out at it was 7-1 Sports Bar. Now it's the other southern tier. It was good, and then the fans started rolling in. But that game, I didn't feel we were going to score. I just felt like as it was going on, I'm like, we just can't. They just can't get in there. And I don't think their goalie's anything special. We just never had great chances. But I do have a question. We didn't realize what was going on. How come the one goal didn't count that went over the line? It sounded like the rest of them, we pushed them in, but I don't feel we did that. And I don't know how much they talked about that goal, but where it looked like it was definitely over the line, but then the referee waved it off. And I'm wondering if you just could touch on that anyways. But, all right, thanks, guys. Go Sabres.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. I really was with you. I thought they're going to get shut out in this game. And tomorrow's going to be the goalie and Swayman.
In their heads.
Should I have wanted Ottawa, actually? Because, I shouldn't have picked the team that actually isn't that good, but has a really good goaltender. Should I have wanted the team that is good, that has questionable goaltending? Well, the Allmark was fine, game 1. That's what was going through my head, like, beginning of the third period. Like, should I regret rooting to play against the Bruins because of this guy between the pipes? And he was not standing on his head like he was Hasek. Like, he hadn't let anything in. But, right, like you mentioned it earlier, there weren't a ton of grade A chances.
To the goal that was disallowed. Owen, I'll give us your thought on the goal that was disallowed. I mean, you always have to preface it with, like, in the NHL, you kind of never know what's going to happen. Sometimes a thing that obviously looks like it shouldn't be a goal will be or won't be. But like they pushed him into the net.
Yeah. That's no goal. If they had called that a goal on me as a goaltender, I would have thrown my stick at a ref's head. Like that would have been a problem because they just buried him into the net. And he even had like his backside edge. He was like holding himself up into the post, and they still just shoved him all the way. Yeah. That is never gonna stand. I get why you might want it to, obviously, because you're a fan of the Sabres, but it's just never. You're never going to be happy if that goal goes in on you and it counts. You're throwing a remote through the TV. So, yeah, I got no problem with them waving that one off.
Should it count?
No.
We want a lot more goals in this league, don't we? We're allowed kicks. Throw it in if you want.
You just smash
shove
goalies,
the goalie in.
You just smash goalies into the net all the time.
Yeah, you're asking for every goalie to get hurt every game.
You're advocating for the tush push.
Yeah, the tush push.
Push him over the line.
Hockey's tush push.
Oh, I'm going to come in there and fight you, Joe. That is unacceptable.
Maybe I'm just trying to rile up the guy in there.
Yeah.
He's 2 panes of glass away. I'm not afraid of him right now.
I'll dive through these. And there's 2 panes on each wall,
panes.
too. And I'm
4 panes of glass I'm protected by at the moment.
Head first go through to get at you right now.
Brian in Buffalo. Hey, Brian.
Hi, good morning, guys. How are you today?
Good. Great.
So I've called several times talking about my teenager going to Jersey. She got to experience her first playoff game that she remembered last night, and what a memory for that kid. And she had her first beer shower after the second goal last night. Just people bear hugging each other, beer flying everywhere. And then as you guys played, the third goal came in. I mean, it was just wild. I've never heard that building as loud as it was last night, going back to the 90s. Mm-hmm. The only thing comparable was Game 6 against Carolina leaving when Danny Briere scores in overtime. I mean, the place was literally shaking last night.
Yeah.
And then just for fun, I checked my heart rate after the third goal, and my watch said it was 139. Just to put that in comparison, at the end of the Bills-Jags game, I was like mid-90s. My resting heart rate is in the 50s, so it was really amped up. And I didn't have any alcohol last night, and I feel like I am completely hungover like crazy. So, all right, go Sabres.
Thanks, Brian. The beer showers.
Yeah. Imagine that being a kid's first experience. Like for a playoff game, because all year or for 10 years, it's been, man, wait till you see what playoff hockey is like. Samuelson kind of wrote about this in his letter, right? That he had been told repeatedly, like, wait till you see it. And maybe he thought, like, oh, all right, man. Like, I keep hearing that, like, sure. Any different than anywhere else. And then really he realized it is different than anywhere else. And if you're a kid getting your first playoff taste, I remember, for me, that really is Game 1 against Philly in 06. Like, I am 11 for that. I am 4 for home run throwback, so I don't have any memory of that. I'm 4 for the finals against Dallas. I got no memory of that. Like, really, for me, truly, Game 1 against the Flyers that night is my first taste of the playoffs. And you get the Campbell hit in overtime and double OT winner and the crowd going nuts. Like, okay, this is great, and this is different. And if you've been told for years, yeah, it is different, like last night, and you're in the arena especially, last night you would have came away thinking, okay, yeah, it's definitely different and better and ramped up.
It's just nice to be back in the Stanley Cup playoffs and appreciating what they are. You know, thinking about Samuelson's letter there, someone on Twitter 2 days ago or yesterday asked about like how you became a Sabres fan. And for a lot of you that were, born here, like I was not. And I think back to when I started here, when I moved to Buffalo in like 2000, I got the same things said to me you're saying about Samuelson. Like, oh, wait till the Sabres in the playoffs. Wait till they make it. Because when I moved here, like, Hauscher got traded the next day. So there was a mini 4 to 5 year drought. And then 05-06 happened, and it was my first true experience of, sports taking over a big city that I lived in and, working here and everything. And I can remember it was Brad Ryder, who had consistently said to me those first couple of years, like, wait till the Sabres make the playoffs. You're not going to believe what it's like when the Sabres make the playoffs. He was right. By the way, Brad's on today from 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Brad will be in solo from 1 to 3 today. Unless, not solo. Other people will be hanging out here. But Brad's on. What to talk about? What's going on? Talk about the Bills draft.
The line combos at practice today, maybe. Will they practice today? What's playoff practice scheduling like?
I think they will. There's media at 12 today.
Okay.
Yeah. 803-0550. If the series ended today, the series is Buffalo, Montreal, Philadelphia, Carolina.
There were no. I think the Sabres had as many shots on goal last night as the Lightning and Canadiens had combined. I think it was close.
One thing
that game went to overtime. Okay, there were 43 shots in that game combined. The Sabres had 38. So it was close, though.
Quick thought on who to root for. You're like, who should I root for in the other series?
Montreal.
Counterpoint. One small counterpoint. Whichever fan base is least likely to come in here. A little bit. Let me just give you a little bit of that. No Boston here. There would be no Tampa here. Montreal, would there be a little bit more?
I don't think
Not enough to matter?
I don't think I care if you get the most rabid fan base that's ever existed and they are funded by the Saudi investment fund. There is nobody getting in this building from another fan base. Were there 500 tickets available on the secondary market? I said this Friday. I think if you're a Sabres fan that has tickets and can't go, you're just putting it in your group chat and other Sabre fans that are going to grab your tickets.
Which, by the way,
I think if they played Montreal fans are not getting in this building.
International law requires you to charge friends face value.
Yes. That's from what I saw in group chats.
If you're,
friends,
I can't go.
People weren't asking
you're
for
not charging
twice as much.
Market value.
Yeah,
you're charging face value.
Yeah,
folks, we're not monsters.
No, because the market value is ridiculous because there's no tickets available.
Right,
that's all it is.
803-0550.
So I'm rooting for Montreal. Give me Sabres and Canadiens.
Be intense.
I mean, the Lightning rivalry would be great, but
the Montreal games were great this year. They were great games.
They were.
Beat Boston first 3 more times. Got to beat them 3 more times. Back to your phone calls, 803-0550 on WGR.
I just think if you are Boston, the series is not over. But
oh God, no.
I am not feeling great about my chances because I think in that game, one way you might have thought you could steal one is we're going to take advantage of their nerves and they haven't done this before and we're going to hit them in the mouth right away and we're going to hang on to a lead and they're not going to be able to respond. And our goalie's going to steal a couple of games from us. That's how I'm going to win the series if I'm Boston. And what you got out of that game was evidence of, man, we got to play this team the next however many games. They are faster than us. They are more talented and skilled than us. They are bigger than us. They are deeper than us. What on earth am I going to do to them in this series if they don't have the nerves and the playoff newness stuff? If they don't have that, how am I going to win this series? I'm going to need my goalie.
Yeah.
It's the only way I'm going to really do it. And I don't think that's going to be enough. Maybe that guy could steal you 1 or 2 games. I've no doubt about that. But is he going to steal 4 games for them?
Got to steal 4 out of 6.
Or am I going to get Boston for an entire game looking like the better team than the Sabres are? I can't imagine what that looks like. They didn't. Who were their guys creating chances last night? You mentioned they have Pastrnak, they have Geekie. Hagen's had a shot late in the 3rd period.
Yep.
But that was the only time I really noticed him the whole game. I mean, I didn't notice any of that middle stat. Well, Zaka maybe had a couple chances, but middle stat I didn't really notice. Husnadinov didn't really notice. Arvidsson, not really. any of their guys behind their top guns just were non-existent in this game.
Well, they didn't have a single player in the positive at 5-on-5 on shot attempts. Not one.
Not
one line, not one player. Zadorov was even 50-50 if you want to do like Corsi or whatever. But just shot share, not one line, not one player for Boston ended up on the positive end of that.
Yeah, in fact, their top pair on defense were really the ones that got run over. McAvoy and Asperat. That's been their top pair for a little bit now. When McAvoy was on the ice, the Sabres outshot him 8-2. When Asperat was on the ice, it was 10-2.
The Sabres are the better team. They can skate circles around that team. And did they get all 3 goals from the forecheck? Like, they got to work.
Yeah.
Again, like, part of why it ends up, for me, feeling like the perfect rebirth into the playoffs is they're better than that team. And they should beat that team. Boston's got some pretty high-level talent. You know, Geekie and Pasternak were both dangerous. I'm sure at some point in the next, 5 minutes, we'll complain about the power play, which Lindy Ruff is not concerned. Which, okay. Glad he's the one. But whatever. We got time to just kind of remember that game. What a start to the playoffs for the Sabres and for Buffalo Sabres fans.
They are the better team. They could skate circles around them. They're going to have the puck the whole series. They're going to have the puck the whole series. This is from OptaStats. Last night, the Buffalo Sabres became the first team in NHL playoff history to win in regulation when trailing by 2 or more to 0 with 8 minutes or fewer remaining.
Regulation.
So down by 2 or more with 8 minutes left in a playoff game. First to ever win in regulation.
It was a good question to...
And they gave up a goal.
Right. A good question to Lindy in postgame. When you tied it 2-2, did you say anything? Because wasn't everyone thinking like, all right, I mean, overtime, careful, don't give up anything. Let's regroup. You've got... And he's like, I didn't really have to say anything, and they went out and got another one. In large part, as you pointed out, Joe, a broken stick from the Bruins. If you were begging for a bounce the whole day, the third goal is entirely on a broken stick from the Bruins and the avalanche of events after that. But, yeah, they got it on regulation. All right, 803-0550, that's our stat of the day. Jeremy and Joe, Sal checks in, your phone calls, your stories about the arena, and Bill's OT is getting started here. It's now draft week. Draft on Thursday. Jeremy and Joe on WGR.
I just think if you are Boston, the series is not over. But
oh God, no.
I am not feeling great about my chances because I think in that game, one way you might have thought you could steal one is we're going to take advantage of their nerves, and they haven't done this before, and we're going to hit them in the mouth right away, and we're going to hang on to a lead, and they're not going to be able to respond. And our goalie's going to steal a couple of games from us. Like that's how I'm going to win the series if I'm Boston. And what you got out of that game was evidence of, man, we got to play this team the next however many games. They are faster than us. They are more talented and skilled than us. They are bigger than us. They are deeper than us. What on earth am I going to do to them in this series if they don't have the nerves and the playoff newness stuff? If they don't have that, how am I going to win this series? I'm going to need my goalie.
Yeah.
It's like the only way I'm going to really do it. And I don't think that's going to be enough. Maybe that guy could steal you 1 or 2 games. I've no doubt about that. But is he going to steal 4 games for them?
Got to steal 4 out of 6.
Or am I going to get Boston for an entire game looking like the better team than the Sabres are? I can't imagine what that looks like. They didn't. Who were their guys creating chances last night? You mentioned like they have Pasternak, they have Geekie. Hagen's had a shot late in the third period.
Yep.
But that was the only time I really noticed him the whole game. I mean, I didn't notice any of that middle stat. Well, Zaka maybe had a couple chances, but middle stat, I didn't really notice. Husnadinov, didn't really notice. Arvidsson, not really. Like, any of their guys behind their top guns just were non-existent in this game.
Well, they didn't have a single player in the positive at 5-on-5 on shot attempts. Not one. Not one line, not one player. Zadorov was even 50-50 if you want to do like Corsi or whatever. But just shot share, not one line, not one player for Boston ended up on the positive end of that.
Yeah, in fact, their top pair on defense were really the ones that got run over. McAvoy and Asperat. That's been their top pair for a little bit now. When McAvoy was on the ice, the Sabres outshot him 8-2. When Asperat was on the ice, it was 10-2.
The Sabres are the better team. They can skate circles around that team. And did they get all 3 goals from the forecheck? Like, they got to work.
Yeah.
Again, like, part of why it ends up, for me, feeling like the perfect rebirth into the playoffs is they're better than that team. And they should beat that team. Boston's got some pretty high-level talent. You know, Geekie and Pasternak were both dangerous. I'm sure at some point in the next, 5 minutes, we'll complain about the power play, which Lindy Ruff is not concerned. Which, okay. Glad he's the one. But whatever. We got time to just kind of remember that game. What a start to the playoffs for the Sabres and for Buffalo Sabres fans.
They are the better team. They could skate circles around them. They're going to have the puck the whole series. They're going to have the puck the whole series.
Quinn walks it out to the slot. Shot scores! Matthias Samuelson! Are you kidding me?
1-0. The Sabres rallied late to shut down the Bruins in the first game of the playoff series in a third-period comeback 4-3. It's their first playoff win in 14 seasons. After Buffalo was absent scoring-wise for most of the game, Tage Thompson scored the 2 goals they get to rally started. Here's Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen on Tage Thompson post-game.
I feel like Tage has grown as a leader so much this year, and he's been really, really big part of our success. On the ice, off the ice, takes care of everybody, and those big moments, he's shown it, in many levels that he's kind of built for that, and he showed his best tonight.
They have the day off as they gear up for Game 2 coming up on Tuesday. KeyBank Center, puck drop set for 7 o'clock right here on WGR. Other results from the weekend: Montreal beat Tampa Bay 4-3 in overtime. The Flyers beat the Penguins 3-2, and the Hurricanes shut out the Senators 2-0. Voluntary minicamp begins today for the Bills and around the NFL. The draft is only a few days away. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Dexter Lawrence is signing a new 1-year, $28 million contract extension with the Bengals. And also from Schefter, the Eagles remain open to trading A.J. Brown. The Patriots remain highly interested in acquiring the star receiver, and conversations are expected to resume shortly on or before June 1st, likely culminating in a deal. A trade to New England is now considered likely. New Orleans football's Nick Underhill believes Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson will be drafted in the top 10 picks. In Georgia, wide receiver Zachariah Branch arrested for misdemeanor obstruction in Athens, Georgia on Saturday. Still a developing story there. In baseball, the Blue Jays beat Arizona 10-4. The Yankees beat the Royals 7-0, and the Mets lost 2-1 to the Cubs. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fans, WGR.
It's Jeremy White and Joe DiBiase.
Shot blocked.
Joe Kelly producing that masterful open. Jeremy and Joe, good morning, everybody. Happy Victory Monday. Sabres win. In regulation, they storm back to beat the Boston Bruins in what was a fever dream. It all happened very quickly. There were pinch-me moments in there as they rally from down 2 to take a 3-0, and then 4-2 lead, ultimately to win 4-3. Game 1 goes to the good guys, and Game 2 tomorrow at KeyBank Center. We're taking your calls, 803-0550 and 1-888-552-550. It is draft week. The Bills will draft the first round Thursday night. Friday, of course, into the third round. Off to the weekend, of course, we'll have lots of coverage of the draft. Thursday night is going to be draft and Sabres game, and we've got a big watch party for both. We'll be at Brightsmith Brewing on Niagara Street, so come on out, join us. Joe and I will be there. The whole gang will be there. Tons of food, big screens to watch the hockey game while we wait for the Bills to make a pick at 26. Maybe they trade out. And if they do this time, we won't be upset because we'll have watched, a hockey game. Maybe they take a receiver. Maybe it gets exciting. Maybe A.J. Brown gets officially traded.
Well, not till June 1st.
Not till June 1st.
So,
Can't they make?
But that probably won't happen.
They can't make the trade until June 1st?
No.
Adam Schefter's reporting that the Patriots and Eagles are going to do it.
I guess it's not like free agency. where you
can't
can
designate it.
Yeah, there's no you got to do it on the day.
So
you
he's got to
designate a trade.
He's
got to
wait for a couple months. Okay,
Yeah.
he's going to go to the Patriots facility and work out.
That is awkward.
Maybe
you got to go They're already kind of over it. Like Sirianni and Roseman have already been a little feisty with this. Every time they're talking, they're getting asked about it. And if you already know he's been traded, but it's not happening until June, you're just going to stand up there and have to say the same thing 9,000 times.
Right. You also might wonder if there's a proposal for the league to, hey, can we make a trade and designate a trade? But that might be tough to do. I don't know, whatever. We don't have to get in the weeds on that.
Yeah.
Sabres win. Sal Capaccio joining us on the Western Hotline. Sal, you were there last night, right?
I was. Pretty incredible, man.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible.
I saw some of the videos
great
you were posting, like walking out, the atrium, the madness that was outside. It seemed like a hell of a night.
I generally, on the Bills sideline, after a game, I generally get like a shot of the crowd, right? Especially away games, and say, Bills Mafia inside the other stadium, what it's like. And on the way out, it was just what an atmosphere. And I saw it, and I said, I'm going to grab this as well. Kind of the same vibe, right? Of that, where people just, pouring through the escalators and going crazy down in the atrium and Warpath chant, Let's Go Buffalo chant. It was just a great night. And, for 2.5 periods, I thought the Sabres were the better team. Swayman was amazing. And I kept saying, I saw my buddies and we were sitting there and I saw friends of mine during intermission were like, just got to get one, man. Just got to get one by him. And then suddenly, of course, the Bruins score. Now you're like, I just don't know if you're going to get 2 over the next few games with this guy, the way it's going, let alone 2 in the next 10 minutes. And then suddenly it just absolutely erupted. I mean, just the manner in which everything happened so quickly and how that arena was already buzzing after the previous goal to get to the next level was just insane.
Yeah. Well, Sal, game 2 tomorrow against the Bruins, and then game 3 will be up against draft night. And for the Bills side of things really quickly, stuff is going on with the Bills today. We're going to hear from the GM and the coach and the quarterback all today?
Yeah, so plan is for Josh Allen, Brandon Beane, and Joe Brady all to speak, I believe, separately starting at 1 p.m. So however that works out, whatever order, we'll hear from them today. That'll be, I'm assuming, after their workout. They do have a veteran minicamp. The Bills are allowed to have a veteran minicamp, one of 10 teams this week, because of a new head coach. If you don't have a new head coach, you can't have a veteran minicamp right now. You got to wait. But because they were able to start their program early, they could squeeze in a veteran minicamp, just the way the CBA works. So they're allowed to have that. It's part of Phase 2. Phase 1 is basically done. It's the first 2 weeks of the program. They started that back on April 6th. That was with just strength and conditioning coaches. Now assistant coaches, position coaches, they can be on the field and do some stuff with them. So, you're not getting hitting, nothing like that. Not wearing equipment, but, they're going through, different kinds of football-y type stuff now. And today is the day they can start doing that for this week. They get 3 days to do that this week, and then kind of back to a, full, just the regular offseason program as we know it.
So I assume mostly draft stuff when Bean talks, probably?
Sure, whatever we want to ask, I guess, Joe. Unless you do you want to ask about the AJ Brown trade? I don't know if that would be something you would answer. But by the way, on that, real quick on the June 1st, the reason is because, as you guys know, with same thing with the June 1st release. June 1st kind of is the cutoff date for everything to kind of switch over for contractually to count over a 2-year period. Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing if you release a guy post June 1 and you split the money up. By trading AJ Brown before June 1, the Eagles would take on a $43 million dead cap hit. By trading him after June 1, it's only $16+ million this year. And then they divide that up. So yeah. But Joe, I would guess that most questions are going to be, but that today will be, to answer your question, I think more of the the draft media availability we generally get every year. We'll be doing that today.
Right, because otherwise, I mean, you're right. It's normal business stuff, and it's the maybe differences in coaching philosophy for this time of year, and then it's the health of guys. And I don't know how much clarity we would get. I remember Bosa last year around now. Maybe we got some updates because he had something, and there's still Hoyt, right, and a couple of guys that we're watching. But I don't know how likely it would be that we would get a really concrete update. I mean, maybe
I would guess most of the normal kind of, hey, they're on track. We expect them to be ready for, August. You never. I always say people get upset. I get it. Fans get upset when, why don't they just tell us? Why do they always just middle it and give a generalization? Well, The answer is because you don't want to put expectations on something that if there were any sort of setback, that it, becomes a story then, right? So if you just say, look, they're progressing, they'll be out there in August or whatever, that just gives you a little more of a, runway for everything to kind of happen naturally without putting that expectation on the player.
Yep.
There's a couple more though, Joe. I would say Tyler Bass is one, right? That we would, and that was the guy that I think Brandon said was a little more ahead of the other guys. Landon Jackson is another one. Tyrell Shavers and Michael Hoyt were both seen in that Sabres hype video that the Bills posted. The Bills posted a video of players walking out of a workout, and they were like, "Go Sabres," and talking to the camera about it. And Tyrell Shavers was walking in one of them. We know he tore his ACL. Another is Michael Hoyt, and of course Michael Hoyt, from Canada, hockey guy, he starts talking about getting pucks to the net and having all these hockey things he's saying. But he's walking. I'm looking at him. And then Dorian Strong was on that video too, and he is in a neck brace, Dorian Strong. So I would say, yeah, these are all players we're going to hopefully get some sort of update on.
Sal Capaccio joining us on the Western Hotline ahead of this round of Bills workouts, voluntary stuff. And again, today we'll hear from the coach, the GM, and the quarterback ahead of the draft, which is Thursday. All right, Sal. We'll talk later in the week. We'll maybe recap it tomorrow and, of course, get ready for Game 2.
You got it, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Sal. Sal Capaccio joining us. 803-0550. Get back to your phone calls here and remembering or just looking back on last night's win over the Boston Bruins. Did you feel the Bruins hate coming on? They were up 2-0 in the game, and they had scored a pair of goals. Mm-hmm. They were stymieing the Sabres to a degree, but like you said, the Sabres had the puck the whole time. The Sabres were out hitting them. There was not even really anything, I thought, to really latch onto that was driving me nuts other than the Sabres power play. Yeah. It's just kind of like, right. By the time we got to the second period, I felt like in the game was like, keep going. You found your game. Keep going. You'll get something. And then they got, 3 somethings pretty quick.
I feel like last night is maybe the beginning of a chapter where the roles are totally reversed, where I don't really hate anybody on that side because that's the little brother in the relationship. It's the opposite of what it was 10 years ago. Did a Bruins fan hate anybody on the Sabres? Who would they have hated? Miller?
Right.
Vanek? Myers? Like, who would you have hated if you were a Bruins fan watching a playoff series against them or all those games in the regular season? Because on this side, it was easy.
Yeah.
But when you're the team that's getting, like, if maybe a Bruins fan today hates Jordan Greenway because he was just all over him, he threw Lindholm into the crossbar yesterday. Or maybe they hate Benson because he was talking the whole game, him and McAvoy near the end of the game. Maybe they hate Stanley just because he's big. Like, I could see it flipping where a Bruins fan could find 6 Sabres to hate by the end of this series, and I am nowhere closer to hating any Bruin. Zadorov. But that was known. There's no one else on the team that I would say after yesterday, like, oh, yeah, that guy's really getting to me.
One other thing I saw somebody point out on Twitter, and again, this is a common conversation maybe for the offseason, whenever it ends, whenever it happens, but someone took a little shot at Colton Parayko decided to not be a part of this, right, when he didn't waive his no trade, his no move.
Yeah.
And I just want to say it about everybody's seeing the scenes here and seeing it's a division winner of a team with an atmosphere like that. Let's be real. Like two things, I think, maybe more than 2, whatever. Lots of things changed what people thought of the Bills. The quarterback was one of them. But even before the quarterback, like Bills Mafia and playing in front of that fan base became a thing that players talked about and really valued and thought was like, oh man, that place is pretty great. And right now, like last night's game, people are noticing and win a round, win 2 rounds, keep having atmospheres like that. All of a sudden you get to the offseason and Jarmo makes a call to improve the roster after they win the cup. That player might listen. Yeah. Where a year ago that player would not have listened, or make a quicker decision where they would not have made a quick decision. So it's just all changing, and it's just all so welcome.
My guess would be, especially the way Parayko laid it out after all of that happened, about how He actually kind of liked the idea, and his agent kind of talked him out of it, and he didn't like the idea of making a decision while he was in Seattle, while his girlfriend was in St. Louis, and like, you got to make this call now because the deadline's coming, and it all felt rushed for him. That I would bet if he was even close before, and everything that's happened since has happened, my guess would be if they revisited that in the spring and brought the same trade back to him, that he would say yes.
The question is, would the Sabres bring the
And
same
I'm
trade?
some of that I'm reading from like what he said
Yeah.
after the trade, plus what you just laid out. I mean, I think of Diggs. Every time this comes up, I think of Diggs. When the Bills tried to get him at the 2019 deadline is how the story goes. And he was thinking, I'm not sure, and I don't think so right now. And then he watched Josh the rest of that year in the playoffs, the Houston game, and over the course of a couple of months was convinced, like, okay, yeah, I want to go there.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I'm good. You want to trade me to Buffalo? Trade me to Buffalo. And if that happens to Parayko in the spring or Robert Thomas or whatever good player they're trying to get, I just think it's going to be night and day compared to where they were a couple years ago.
It's partially winning. You could also win someone over half kidding, not kidding, by the guys that were on rollerblades beating up a Cam Neely doll. Listen.
I also learned
it's an
today.
all-timer of a clip.
It's amazing.
All time. Not just because they're beating up a Boston doll or a Boston mannequin and a Cam Neely. It's because they are wearing rollerblades and full gear.
Yeah, and both in Ristolainen jerseys.
Incredible.
I saw as I was walking into the arena at whatever, I got there at like 4:45. I was walking in and I saw the guy take the Cam Neely doll out of the back of his car, and I just started laughing in the street.
Yeah,
and they looked at me and I was just like, "Go get him, guys! Like, let's go! This is gonna be unbelievable."
So I also learned this morning that. Did you notice there was a callback to a Sabres meme from the drought?
Yes.
During it. Did you notice the guy in the Ristolainen jersey falling backwards?
Yes.
That was staged. Because there's a famous meme of Ristolainen colliding with the boards and like falling hilariously. That's how deep that went. They staged like a Sabres meme from like 9 years ago.
Now my question is, what
And then
are those guys going to do for game 2?
Oh,
I'm counting on them.
Just change up the jersey.
Change the jersey?
Who's it next? Tuukka Rask?
Can you get a way bigger doll and make it Chara?
Oh, good one.
And then like edge spear through the chest. We need a Chara doll.
We're flying high. We got to win game 2 now. They got to win game 2.
Yes, they do.
They are a big. They're minus 350 to win the series now. They did a lot of work last night for the betting odds.
Nice. 803-0550. Allie in Denver. Allie, good morning.
Hey, good morning, fellas. How's it going?
Good.
Good.
I was gonna call in. You guys were talking about the TV broadcast. I started listening to you guys probably 8 or 9 years ago. Whenever we drafted Josh, because I was like, I don't really know what's going on about the Buffalo Bills, and then I've sort of become an accidental Sabres fan because I listen to you guys every day and, obviously root for them because, I listen to you guys. And so had the game on last night, and oh my God, it was like in a froth on the TV. And like, I fully expected it because obviously Buffalo fans, y'all throw down in Buffalo and we throw down all over. But the broadcast was just absolutely electric. It was so great and just been super fun to watch. And I kept on watching the ticker of the shots on goal, and they hadn't scored yet. And I'm like, golly, guys, we gotta get one in. And they just kept at it as that shot, the shot clock kept going, or the shot ticker, kept going up, and they, finally obviously got it done. But just, felt it through the TV. Gonna be awesome to watch this series, and rooting for them. For I live in Avs country, so I do. Cheer for the Avs as well, but rooting for the Sabres to go the whole way this year.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Allie. I said to Joe earlier today that Sabres Avalanche would be a fun series 5-on-5. Both teams are terrible on the power play, right? Somehow Colorado's bad on the power play.
They're 27th in the league. It's worse than the Sabres. I don't understand it. Makes no sense.
Long way to go. But
you can do it without the power play. It's just harder, but. Like, Philly is in the playoffs and up 1-0 in their series. They were dead last on the power play this year. 15%. The worst power play in the league, and they're up 1-0 in round one. Like, you can do it. It's just, I feel like it's an opportunity loss. Like, because I'm envisioning, they're already so good. They're already so good at scoring, the Sabres team, that for me it's more, man, imagine if they did have a good power play. They just feel like they'd be unbeatable.
Well, I just want to point this out. A bad power play. You said Philly was the worst in the league at 15%?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be 4 of 26. The Sabres are 0 of their last 26.
Right.
That's not even a bad power play.
No, it's historically bad.
I'd settle for a bad one.
Right.
Going
15%? Would you take 15% the rest of the playoffs?
Yes.
And that was the worst in the league?
Yes. 0 for their last 26?
You got to get to a place where you're better than that. The Sabres were 19.5%, by the way, this year. You know,
they're
you
due.
score
Okay.
one of every 5.
They're due.
Really, I mean, by their regular season percentage, how many should they have scored their last 26? 5?
Yeah.
Or 4? And they have 0. And, right, the thing about their power play all year has always been, we know it's not good because even when they are scoring,
we hate it.
It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
It never looks good. It looks so hard for them. And what is it? Because this is not new. Does it have to be coaching? I know the coaching gets blamed a lot, and it's been multiple coaches now with this power play over 3 years that have really been blamed. Could it just be the coaching, or is it possible they just have players that are great offensively 5-on-5 and aren't very good on the power play? Like, we know a lot of their offense comes from their blue line, and that's not really available to you when you're on the power play because, well, 1, you have 4 forwards out there, and 2, now it's kind of positionless and everybody's rotating around. Like, I don't know. There are key differences that you could be great even strength and bad 5-on-4. It's just so weird. And Paul said this earlier too. Like, there's really nothing left they could try. What haven't they done that they could do? You want to put 2 defensemen out there? You want to put Byram on the top unit with Dahlin? Like, I don't know what else you really would do.
All right. I guess the best I would go with, what could you try that's different? You could try to play the power play like you play even strength in a game like this, which is not drop, pass, carry in, but try and chip it past them and go get it. That's what you do 5-on-5.
Right.
Right? Like, they are a team that retrieves, and they're a team that wins from below the goal line a lot at 5-on-5. And if you're going to get possession, how much time do I watch? Dahlin took the puck off the blue line out of the zone to reset for a drop pass bring it into the zone.
That was ridiculous.
Like,
I remember that.
That was a little bit of a tough one. There's another play where Norris, we haven't talked about this play yet, the puck's on the far wall, and Norris kind of just watches it leave.
Yeah.
He's
like, he went to tie up the man when he could have easily just grabbed the puck and put it back.
It was
down
very odd.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't engage with the puck in the offensive zone, cost him 30 seconds going down the ice trying to get back in. So
yeah,
I think part of the problem. I think the problem on the power play is the entries, and they're not the only team that tries that. They
every team does.
A lot of teams do that. A lot of teams do that drop pass, but theirs is a really deep drop, and it's just. I mean, it's all over the place. They're so committed to it that sometimes I feel like they stop what might be a positive chance to get in to do the drop entry. Jeff in Amherst. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, guys. How you doing? A little bit easier to go into work today after a win.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just wanted to touch a little base on my experience. My daughter was born in the summer of 2011, so I always joked with her, like, you're the reason we haven't gone back to the playoffs. And so, but she's a big hockey fan now, and it was really fun to watch her, see and experience it. We went to the Vegas game right after the Olympics, the first home game with Tage, and they did the ceremony, and she was like, wow, Dad, it's really loud in here. And I was like, just wait till you see playoffs. So it was, great to see her like on the edge of her seat watching the game at home last night. Even through the TV, you could feel the crowd, and we've got tickets to game 5, hope the Sabres sweep and we don't even have that, and we roll that money over to game round 2 tickets. But, it'd be great to be able to see her, see it in person, the atmosphere. That was really great.
Yep.
And then the other point I wanted to make is, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but it was really nice to see, Dave Portnoy from Barstool was chirping and tweeting a lot during the game, and it was nice to see him get roasted at the end of it, because he was talking a lot of crap about Buffalo being a library in the middle of that game, us being easy work, it's the game's not going to go the way we wanted, and just took the wind out of our sails. So it was nice to see him just get roasted by Sabres fans the last minute of that game, and then he didn't show back up online afterwards.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. That's why they can't lose to the Bruins, because they can't lose
to Boston.
They can't lose to Boston, and Boston's entitlement that they think that they are going to win every single sporting event they ever enter. Your team is not good. It's not. The Sabres have a better team, and of course they think like, we're just going to win 2-0. I'm sure they had like chalked themselves up a spot in the second round, because that's Boston. Boston wins everything. They win all the time. Their normal wake up out of bed is my sports team's going to win today, and go farther than it should, and maybe cheat. They
multiple times.
They always win. So, yeah, I mean, to find a way through this team to get through to the next round will be, I think, about as sweet as any team you could beat in a just opening playoff round. Just like beating Boston is good.
Yeah.
The Bills have been doing it for a couple of years, and what happened? The Patriots have this magical season. They're back. They're champs now. Like, got to erase that too. But starts here with this one. So, yeah, a library, blah, 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 whatever. 803-0550 and 1-888-550-2550 our phone numbers. We'll get a break in. More of your phone calls. Sabres win. Boy.
It is bothering me, by the way, the ESPN broadcast doing the Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen thing.
That they pretended like they couldn't say his name?
They were pretending, right?
Well, I mean, or they didn't care enough to try.
There's no way they don't.
How hard is it to say Vasilevsky? Like, you say his name.
But, like, your guys up there don't follow the league a little bit to the point where they would know. So at that point, I'm like, you're pretending. You have to be. Is it possible two guys that are studio analysts on a major broadcast partner of the NHL don't know the name of a starting goalie in the playoffs?
And they're taking turns like trying to say the name?
Yeah, I don't even buy it. I feel like it was made up. Subban and Messier.
Goofy.
It was weird. You're trying to be like, because that's the Charles Barkley thing, right? Like, it's funny when he mispronounces names. But I don't know. Like, it's funny when we don't follow the sport and we're the ones up here talking about it.
4 goals in 6:46 of the third. We'll get back to your phone calls here on a Victory Monday. Sabres win 4-3 over Boston in a game that got intense at the end there. Look at the scenes. I can't watch enough videos from inside the arena. And everybody's group chat, if you had like tickets split, you're like talking to the person that went to game one, like, you got a good one there. I hope I get a good one tomorrow. Or I hope game 5's good. If there is a game 5, if there's a game 7. Jeremy and Joe here on WGR.
You talk about the retrievals, Paul, that they made. Like, there is a lot of talk. Playoff hockey's a little different. You can't always carry it in, dump and chase. And if they can win battles like that behind
Jeremy
the net,
White here
they've
for
got to be
Riverfront Auto
more
Sales,
of a dump and chase team than they were in the regular season. Like, they kind of proved that they can do it.
Yeah, they weren't going to win if the Bruins, they were, denying entries and clogging up the neutral zone and trying to take the Sabres' speed away. And it was successful for a while, but it gets back to what we've witnessed all year long. How do you want to play it? Do you want to play it tight? We can play it tight. You want to play 8-7? We were running gun. We love to run and gun with you. Want to play tough? Let's do it. Whatever is needed for that game, and I'll say the same word I said earlier again, maturity. They're up for it, and they're pretty good at all of it. Depending on what type of game you want to play, and they just proved it again against the Bruins last night.
Was it the least chippy, scrummy game of anyone that you watched?
Yeah, over the 2 days. There was really only one scrum the whole game.
Yeah, not a lot.
No, it's just the Benson and Timmins against. That was Boston's fourth line out there. They were going after Stanley at one point,
but not a ton of that.
Stanley just laughed at him. No, there wasn't much.
And Boston doesn't have a lot of guys like that.
They don't.
I know they're the Bruins, but they don't have a team like that.
No, their fourth line has, like, Tanner Jeannot is like that, and he's the one who fired up that scrum in the first place because he went after Sandley. But other than him and Corrali and Kastelik, which is their bottom line, I don't know. Like, there's nobody higher in the lineup that really plays that way. So you might not get a lot of that. Which, again, is the absurdity of they're bigger and more physical. And like, they don't have guys throughout the lineup. Like, Zadorov would be another one.
Yep.
Like, you got to go to their defenseman. Zadorov would be, and he did. He threw one big hit in this game that we noticed. He got Doan at one point, but there was nothing dirty about it. You want another trivia question? You can get that one. Do you know who set the record last night for hits in a playoff game by a Sabre?
I would imagine it's Malenstein, but I'm guessing.
Tuck.
10
hits last night's the most in a playoff game by a Sabre ever. Samuelson had 9, by the way, so he's now second. And I guess we could start there. We could start a million different places, but the Bruins coach last week said his team was more physical and bigger, and that did not look like that was the case yesterday.
No, the Sabres initiated the contact, but they did it in a smart way. Very often, sometimes when you go to make the hit, you take yourself out of position. Rasmus Ristolainen was like the number one person. He would come across the ice, take himself way out of position, make a huge hit, and then it's a 3-on-1 the other way because he came across the ice to do it and it was out of position. The Sabres weren't doing that. They were tough in the hitting department. It was helping them on the forecheck, and it was like step up and hit somebody or get in on the forecheck fast and hit somebody. And I thought they were initiating the physical play of that game, and I think in the end it's one of the things that helped them win. I think when it finally got to Boston, always having Tuck or always having Malenstein or always having Krebs or whoever it might be, Samuelson, always having them there and the physical toll that it takes. I think by the end of the game, that's one of the things that helped the Sabres.
Associations fight for air climb.
Jones kept in by Hesh. Penalty coming up to Philadelphia. In front, they score!
Memories. I bet you if this game last night had gone to double overtime, Tage might have gotten to 13 shots. What did he finish with?
Tage, 7.
Yeah. I mean, he might have got to 13.
You know, speaking of yesterday, there were some ticky-tack penalties in the in that playoff game yesterday. That game 1 against 06, there were 10 minor penalties called in the first period. Excuse me, the first overtime of that game. Game 1 against Philly in 06.
10 penalties called in overtime?
Yeah.
Matching minors? Or just back and forth?
You might have had a couple of matching minors. But, of course, they called a lot of penalties back then. They're not going to call penalties like that in Game 2, are they?
I don't think so. I can't decide if I want Game 2 to start right now or if I need time to recover.
I could use a day.
Yeah?
You take a breath. Take a nap, take a breath, get ready for tomorrow. Then we get 2 days off.
Yeah.
Wait. No, we don't.
No,
we
2 days off
because they didn't end up playing Saturday.
Right. Between games 3 and 4,
that's where
there
it
are
is.
2 days off.
Yes.
Nick in Tonawanda's on the line. What's up, Nick?
Good morning, guys. It's a beautiful day in the Sabres neighborhood.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I am sure that the Bruins fans are very fine people, but I'm tired of hearing their superior BS talk, and I want to thank the Sabres for giving the most presumptuous, condescending, smug, and overbearing fans something to worry about. That's the first thing. And you guys were talking about having sports parties at the house. Well, the wife and I, we have sports parties all the time. And like you said, we'll put a TV in the garage, one in the living room. But here's the hack. I keep a radio in the bathroom on a low volume. And, of course, there's no delay on the radio. So if you hear one of your guests screaming in the bathroom, you know that 15 seconds later something great is going to happen. So that's that.
But you don't want that to happen, right? You don't want the person in the bathroom spoiling it for the rest of the house, do you?
Well, no, that's true, but it's just kind of something that's
yeah. I like the idea otherwise. Yeah.
And it happens all the time in my house.
Yep.
And last thing is I think that the Sabres are the best third period team in hockey, and I want to get your take on that, and I'll hang up.
I think they have the most third period goals in hockey. They said that on the broadcast last night. They have 100 goals in the third, 100 and I don't think it was straight 100, but
look,
goals by period.
Feels like they are.
You could do goal differential by period.
Feels like lately, especially.
Yeah.
They are great. The Columbus game, they scored 4 in the third period, right? There's the Tampa game, they had the comeback. This game last night. Yeah, it feels like they have been. I mean, because there have been games where they that stretched down the end of the regular season where they were kind of asleep for the first period, and they kind of find their legs in the second, and then they would just throttle a team in the third. So, yeah.
803-0550. Thanks, Nick, for the phone call. Yeah, like the streaming options, one thing you run into this during football season, too, is, you're in your neighborhood, and you're, like, we'll probably watch games out back and outside during the course of this playoff run if we get nice weather that matches up. And whatever your service is, like there's the radio, there's streaming this way, there's streaming that way, there's that. I might hear a house across the street shout before I get mine because I'm, 10 seconds behind. Sometimes, I was watching the Arsenal game yesterday. I had 2 TVs on. They were on 2 different times. Same house. One feed was 12 seconds ahead of the other. So, it could be a little bit of a challenge to make sure you're not spoiling your own actual watch party.
With Arsenal, there's not much spoiling these days anyway.
Nah, not really.
They don't score many goals.
They sure don't. Tough to win if you can't score. Frank in Orchard Park. Hey, Frank.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I'm very happy that the Sabres won and came back. But, like I said earlier, I was waiting for a while for you guys to get on the horn here. Power play is definitely going to catch up to them if they can. Like you were saying, we'll take 15% on the power play as we keep. If we move on in the playoffs, going to the second, third round, we have to have somewhat of a power play. And watching the game last night, the Sabres came out good, hitting and had a lot of shots, but they weren't really great quality shots. A lot of open lanes. That goalie saw almost every shot. We need to cause a little more havoc in front of the net.
Yep.
And I think on the power play, they should park like Thompson and talk more closer to the net for the rebounds, because those are your better scorers. You know, Tage is always playing to the far left. You know, and everybody knows that he's waiting for that one-timer over there. I think they should mix it up a little bit and get these guys more in front of the net. I think that we can create some more chances that way.
Yeah, they have used him down along the goal line like Team USA did in the Olympics, and he had a pass, between the legs, looking for Zucker, who wasn't there at the time. So, looking at power play stats from last year, and
I was looking at power play stats in the month of April. Doesn't include last night. Tampa is the only other team in the league with a net power play percentage that isn't above 0. They went 1 for 20 in April.
Tampa?
Yeah, but they scored twice, I think, on the power play last night. So they got it going in the playoffs. But they were 1 for 20 down the stretch.
Well, looking at the power play in the playoffs last year, I almost want to sort it by teams that made a second round.
I feel like Edmonton's going to be really high.
Edmonton on the power play last year was 25%.
It's great.
Vegas, 25%. Montreal, 33%. They played one series.
Right.
Dallas went deep, and they were 32% on the power play. That's
Insane.
nuts. They played 18 games. The Cup is ultimately Florida, right?
Yep.
25%. They beat
great.
Edmonton 25%. Like, if you're going to go deep,
you're going to need something.
Honestly.
Probably. You're probably going to need something.
Would take 15%. 15% of the power play is still, again, a bad number, even in the postseason.
Has a team ever gone really far with a number that low? That'd be a question I'd want to look at. Even in going.
You want to go to
years.
the final or the semis? What do you want to do?
Give me the conference finals. Can I get to the conference finals with a power play?
Last
of 15%?
year's conference finals, it's who? Florida and
Carolina.
Carolina, 23%. It's Edmonton and was it Vegas?
Vegas,
25.
So no.
2023 postseason, same two teams, right? Edmonton and Florida.
Yep.
Edmonton 29%, Florida 18.
Yep.
I think Boston made the conference final. No, maybe not. Maybe the Rangers made it that year.
Which year? 22?
23-24.
23-24. In the conference finals, you had Edmonton, Dallas, and Florida over the Rangers.
The Rangers 24%, Dallas 20%. 15 again is bad. But you would
bad.
You would take it. You might get me to sign on the dotted line for 13.
It also is just I don't have a lot of confidence they're going to do much better than that. This has been a long problem.
Right. And last night, I don't think last night is an example of you had things looking good, a couple more looks like that, and you'll get one to go in.
Yeah.
It was really, last night was everyone's worst fear in that department on the power play.
I'm trying to think. Is there anybody they haven't put on the top unit that's worth a shot? They could put Osland in there, but I don't know if he'll play. Shouldn't he play, though? He can't be their fourth-line center and play on the power play? Or are they going to just keep rolling with the same lineup?
I just think the answer is different entries. I think the answer is to go.
He can help with that a little, but
just to go get it.
I guess they just don't. That's part of it. They don't have an elite zone entry guy. They don't have McDavid for that. Tage is a great player, but Tage is your goal scorer. He is not an elite zone entry guy like that. And they're McKinnon. You might have to have one of the best players in the world to have a guy that is always going to get that done.
Right.
So they're not easy to come by.
Do I want to drop that to do I want McLeod doing that because of the speed?
The problem is he's such a non-factor to shoot once you're in there.
I was just going to say, should I treat it like overtime where you get him in, then come off the ice?
That'd be wild.
It'd be wild, right?
He's fast. You could probably make the change pretty quick.
Right, go over the boards for the drop pass, get it in, and then change.
And get off the ice.
It's not going to happen.
No.
And it's not even a good idea. Just trying anything to get to 15%.
Remember the Bruins used to put Chara in front of the net? Can we put Samuelson? But again, you're right. That doesn't really fix their problem is getting in.
Every team does that. Putting the biggest guy in front. Putting the biggest guy in front of the net for the power play is like moving ping pong tables in and out of the locker room in football. It's just like, let's try this. This is a thing. This is proof that we're doing something.
Put Stanley in front of the net.
Oh, come on. Whale McCarr, you mean?
Whale McCarr in front of the net?
Put Whale McCarr in front of the net?
Yeah. Give it a shot. They once, there was a point in this drought, maybe it was a tank year, where John Scott was in front of the net on their power play.
You said that happened. Yes.
Don't think it worked.
No. 803-0550, our phone number. Extendo Sports into the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show. Brad Ryder today from 1 to 3 live. Brad talking playoff hockey and all things assorted with that as well. Give us a ring. Happy Victory Monday on WGR.
You talk about the retrievals, Paul, that they made. Like, there is a lot of talk. Playoff hockey's a little different. You can't always carry it in, dump and chase. And if they can win battles like that behind the net, and they've got to be more of a dump and chase team than they were in the regular season, like they kind of proved that they can do it.
Yeah, they weren't going to win if the Bruins, they were, denying entries and clogging up the neutral zone and trying to take the Sabres' speed away, and it was successful for a while, but it gets back to what we've witnessed all year long. How do you want to play it? Do you want to play it tight? We can play it tight. You want to play 8-7? We were running gun. We love to run and gun with you. Want to play tough? Let's do it. Whatever is needed for that game, and I'll say the same word I said earlier again, maturity. They're up for it, and they're pretty good at all of it. Depending on what type of game you want to play. And they just proved it again against the Bruins last night.
The Sabres are the better team. They can skate circles around that team. And did they get all 3 goals from the forecheck? Like, they got to work.
Yeah.
Again, like, part of why it ends up, for me, feeling like the perfect rebirth into the playoffs is they're better than that team, and they should beat that team. Boston's got some pretty high-level talent. Geeky and Pasternak were both dangerous. I'm sure at some point in the next, 5 minutes, we'll complain about the power play, which Lindy Ruff is not concerned. Which, okay. Glad he's the one. But whatever. We got time to just kind of remember that game. What a start to the playoffs for the Sabres and for Buffalo Sabres fans.
They are the better team. They could skate circles around them. They're going to have the puck the whole series. They're going to have the puck the whole series.
The Samuelson goal, go back and watch like you have 1,000 times. Watch how casually he shoots it. That's my favorite part of it now. It's like he's just ripping it into the net before skating off because warm-ups are over.
Yeah.
He's going to casually throws it there, turns, and finds its way through. Not a big lean into it, not a big stick whip, just into the net for what he then called the coolest moment of his life.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't really
it's just kind of an afterthought.
There's no down on one knee. It's just he's so big that he'll get that much torque on his stick even without really going 100% on it.
Fitting for him to get it when talking about he had that piece at the Sabres posted, a letter to the fans about how much it means to all the players in the playoffs and being back, and his arc is the Sabres arc, is it not? Kind of left for dead last year. Nothing's doing anything. It's not going anywhere. It's a mess again.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. He's really good.
Yeah.
End of arc. All right. Big news in the NFL today is that Adam Schefter is reporting the Patriots and the Eagles are doing the A.J. Brown trade after June 1.
Yeah.
Which
means, by the way, the draft capital will be for next year.
Can I give you one small hiccup on that?
What?
We watched Max Crosby get traded and then got undone.
Yep.
I've got to just accept this trade that's 2.5 months away, month and a half away. Like, sure. Just go ahead and report it when it happens. They intend to make this trade.
I mean, he is working out with New England players.
Great. I fully expect it to happen. It's almost like you want to treat it like the news of the day, but yet it's not yet the news, and the teams can't publicly say it until right? Like, fine.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, like, really, I don't know. I mean, I'm treating it as though if Schefter is saying that these teams have agreed to this deal, that it's gonna happen, barring something unforeseen.
I don't even know that it's that. It remains very much in play. Expectations talks will intensify on or after June 1st. Like you can't even report that it's done. So we're all whatever.
Isn't that him kind of saying it is done in his Schefter way?
Probably.
Which is couching it in case it doesn't happen.
But which is not done.
But it's only not done because they can't do it yet.
Right.
So and that's right. Like, and could something happen? Like, I guess what would have to happen? Someone's got to get cold feet, and why are they doing that? I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's too far along with all this to not happen. Like, the Eagles are pretty adamant, or pretty evidently trying to trade him. And the one thing that I think could stop it is if teams know the package and the draft goes by, and you're the Rams, and maybe you want a certain receiver, and that guy's not there. Draft goes by. We still like to maybe should we revisit A.J. Brown because they were reportedly in on it, and then the Rams say, you know what, that package that we weren't willing to do a month ago, change of heart. Yeah, we'll do it. And then suddenly another team gets in and outbids New England because really,
but no one's going to do that.
Your bid has to stay the top bid for 2 months.
Right.
So you're opening yourself up to someone that didn't get what they wanted in the draft decides, you know what? Let's do it.
So
they just wake up one morning and feel differently.
Isn't that further to my point that we shouldn't treat it like it's a done deal?
That would be the one way I could most see it not happening.
Yeah. Game 2 tomorrow. Victory Monday. The Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show coming up. Sabres Live. Brad Ryder from 1 to 3. Show up in the Bulldog. Happy Victory Monday. Made it. Back to the playoffs, up 1-0. The series continues tomorrow. We're back. Stay tuned, 1 o'clock today. Joe Brady, Brandon Bean, and Josh Allen all speak with the media, so we'll recap that tomorrow. Have some things from them on the draft when we return tomorrow. 6 a.m. here on WGR.